All right. The Acolyte, they said it was $200 million for the budget. Well, turns out it's about $230 million. How does that happen? How does that happen? Where'd the money go? I'm going to tell you we started late because it was my fault, but I would be lying. It's John's fault. I can definitely say that with no problem. So we got myself, we got John Rocha, we got the live show. We got a lot of things to talk about here today. Let's get into it, man. It's me and Rocha. Here we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the live show. It is myself, Kristian Harloff, on the Kristian Harloff Show, with John the Outlaw Rocha. How was the weekend? It wasn't your fault?
Listen, it wasn't my fault.
Oh, no?
I don't know what lies you're trying to tell
me. Whose fault was it?
It was my fault. I don't know whose fault it was.
Just blame it on Vogel.
I'll blame it on the guy who can't understand technology. That's why I blame it. I blame it on Brett for leaving you in this position. That's why I blame it.
Please. I get this stuff. I've been doing this stuff like juggling 87 plates on 2 feet. So we have this week, John Rocha has been crushing it this week, or the last couple weeks. Nice. With, I think last week he had around 73 questions that came in, but Mike and Steph came in, swooped him at the end. But still, John starts off strong already at 17 questions before he even started going.
17, that's it?
That's what you have.
17.
Don't yell at them. Don't yell at them. 17 to start is wonderful. All right.
What did they get last week?
82. Winston holds the record at 106 or something.
Yeah, but you guys were talking about something really big.
No, but it doesn't look. It resets week to week. So this is the this we have today. It's so funny because one of our loyal viewers, Mike Joyce, he was like, I love him too, but he was like, "Don't you get tired? There's no disrespect. Don't you get tired shit on the Acolyte?" I go, first of all, this is the story that broke. I didn't write the story, and I'm not also the one who spent $230 million on a show. This is what we talk about on the show. And the thing is, and I also said, look, when is this story going to go away? When the story goes away, I don't just keep milking it but the story just keeps popping back up and over and over. I didn't write this I go to Dark Horizons, check out the stories, and this was one of the big stories. And it is another big story continuously because it also ties into something from the other day when it comes to like the Agatha, right?
Yeah.
Agatha was reported. I thought initially we reported this we were reading it on Capes and Cows about how I thought that the Disney was happy with the ratings. They released the ratings, but people pointed out globally, not the best for what they did ratings. The ratings weren't that great on Agatha. But here's the difference, is what I think from what is another report. Agatha is apparently like the lowest budget for all the Marvel shows thus far. So in what kind of return did they want for the 9.3 million, whatever they had, as opposed to getting 11 point on a show that cost $230 million for Acolyte? So there's a big, huge difference because, you get these, the toothless stink breaths that type and go, hey, shill, you're saying that the Agatha had good reviews. I'm like, hey, dirt ass. If you saw, I thought the show is aimed toward, not even aimed towards me, and I'm enjoying it. Enjoying it for what it is, but it's like I'm also, they put the numbers out. They say it did well. I said okay, it did well, and then they look at it globally, not the best, but then you put it up next to the actual what it cost. And before we get into Acolyte, what do you think about the reports on Agatha?
Oh, which part though? I mean,
they said that the review when they not at the review bombing, but when they said that the ratings itself came out and they said they were happy with they blasted out that Disney announced that Agatha had, I guess, 9 point something for its first, which is under what Acolyte had on, I guess, its season premiere. But it's like if you look at globally, the numbers aren't great. They're okay, and maybe not even, but okay when you consider that it had a low budget. Right?
Yes.
If it had a $230 million budget, 9 million or 11 million, not great at all.
Yeah.
So, but I from what I read in the report, I looked and I thought that they were like boasting that it had a big number, and I was wrong. So, but either way, what do you think about the Agatha stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised it's not doing that well internationally. I mean, it's kind of a provincial story here, and so I'm not surprised that like globally people aren't going like, oh, I got to see what's going on with the witches, right? I didn't think, and even Catherine Hahn said this in an interview, I think with Seth Meyers on his show. She said she had no idea they were going to continue this character. Like she was doing it and thought it was a great role and fun to do, but she had no idea they were continuing because even she saw that it was a character that she necessarily thought people were going to be gravitating to in the millions and really want to see more from. So it was just so the fact that it's doing better in America makes more sense to me than globally because it's one of these characters that's very clearly from the comics. People didn't know it before they saw it on. Most people didn't know it before they saw it on WandaVision. Those of us who are comic book readers obviously know Agatha Harkness. She's a big deal, but like didn't know. So it's not a surprise to me that it isn't doing that well internationally. It's not an internationally known character. So and even in WandaVision, yes, she was a fun part of WandaVision, but it was really about Wanda and Vision. Hence the title of the show. So it's nice to spin it off and do a fun series with it. But I'm not surprised it's not catching on with international audience as strongly as here.
As here, I know that's what it seems
Plus,
like.
there's no international actors in the show.
Yeah,
like there's no internationals in the show.
Well, either way, it doesn't take away from the fact of this. The Acolyte budget was $230 million, not the 200, which everyone thought was overpriced and crazy that they spent 200. Disney's contentious Star Wars streaming show, The Acolyte, reportedly surpassed its planned production budget, according to a new feature in Forbes. The series was shot in the UK, and so documentation about its budget is disclosed publicly after a certain point. The outlet indicates that the cost of the series up until partway through post-production have been revealed. The result is that the show's budget hit $230 million. At that time, around $50 million more than previously been reported. The figure raises the per episode cost. That's right. It was reported at 180, by the way.
Yeah.
Not 200, 180. That figure raises the per episode cost around $28.8 million per episode.
Yeah.
What did they spend it on? What did they spend it on? Which could be the fifth most expensive show to date behind Rings of Power, Citadel, Secret Invasion, and Stranger Things. As the published figures were also up to partway through post. The final figure is likely higher. The series began production in October 2022, and prior to that, Disney was forecasting it to come in on budget. Yeah, right. That it appears to have gone over, combined with soft audience numbers, were likely big factors leading to the show's cancellation, likely more so than the hostile online reception. The series launched to 4.8 million views on launch day and made it up to sixth place in Nielsen's top 10. So 4.8 million. I don't know. Okay, so this is why, to our good buddy Mike Joyce, who's watching, this is why we're talking about this show. Because how in the world, first of all, reporting it at 180, I don't understand how this show balloons to $230 million. What do you guess cost that much, John? Like what cost that much money?
I mean, I remember when they canceled Rome on HBO because it was like $6 million an episode. It was too much to me, and they were sharing the load with a British production company, and it still was too much. Now we're talking about this much being spent, and I don't understand. And this has to be explored. Like it's not in the CG that we saw. It's not in the graphics that we saw. It's not in the settings that we saw. It can't be in the costume budget. Where is it?
Where did it go?
It can't be where they spent money on Amandla or on Lee Jung-jae or any of these other actors. Like there's not a wow standout. Like if it was Keanu, I could see them spending 10 million or 5 million an episode on his salary or whatever. Like I can understand that, but yeah, this is quizzical. And again, this is not let's bash the Acolyte. It's more a matter of like, this is almost like the government spending $250
right.
on
Who signed off on it?
How is this possible?
That's more the case. It's not a matter of like, oh, Leslye Headland, it's all her fault. No, someone gave her the money. Someone gave her the money. Who's signing the checks? And you can, well, it's Kathleen Kennedy. Well, who's giving Kathleen Kennedy the money? Who's giving the rest of the team? How do you not go, wait a minute? This, first of all, they knew that it was a time period that they weren't they weren't happy with. Everybody else was getting excited about it, but that's the first thing. Like, okay, we don't know if anybody's going to deal with this because they're not going to like it. They're not going to respond to it because it's not in the Skywalker thing. So this is risky. Then they go, all right, well, we're going to do, what was it, 8 episodes or whatever it might be?
Yeah.
8 episodes for $230 million?
Yeah.
Dude, Kenobi was like, it was way less than, I think it was like 90 million or something.
Yeah, like 90 million.
crazy. And I'm
you
like,
got,
Ewan McGregor
is a way bigger name.
and you have Darth Vader in the show.
Yeah, true. Darth Vader in the show.
Darth Vader should get you at least $150 million. And so I just don't understand like how any executive, no matter it's Chapek, Iger, how do you sign off on that? This is not just, because I've been talking about how you got to just totally gut Lucasfilm in general. You got to bring up any executive that said, this makes sense to do. Yeah, let's keep doing this. In the same way, this is like the Indiana Jones problem all over again.
Yeah.
The last Indiana Jones was like 300 plus. This is insanity. This is like this is negligent. This is negligent. Yeah. Like how you...
I think so too.
It is. 230 million. 180 was crazy.
Yeah.
You can make another show, a 5-episode show for the other $50 million that wasn't reported.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You totally could. You could do 4. You could do a mini series for like 4 episodes, 5 episodes. Yeah. Like how much did Shogun cost overall?
Oh, that's a great question.
I'm going to bet you overall, Shogun, the quality of Shogun, which won more awards than most shows will ever do in their 5 or 6 seasons. It did it in 1. Don't tell me yet. I'm going to guess that Shogun cost $160 million to make all the way through.
It did not. It was $250.
Okay.
For a 10-episode season.
Okay, so
that's already more episodes, right?
Okay, but with 250, it's a lot of money.
An hour long, by the way, almost an hour long each episode. Yeah,
you just said it right there. They're an hour long. They're not 36 minutes, so they've already. And when I ask you, if you look at Shogun, can you see where they spent the money? Of course you do.
Yeah,
from the scale of it, from how big it was, from the actors, from the performances, from the layout, from everything involved. When we interviewed Nestor Carbonali, and you looked at and he was talking about how he couldn't believe the amount of people that would show up, how many people that they had in the extras. So okay, they went grand scale on this bad boy, and guess what? It paid off because they did everything that they could to put. You saw where the money went. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Yeah, but you saw where the money went, and it paid off. So I don't know. This to me is a really this is also adds to the problem of studios in general, how they overspend on a lot of things. And granted, this was also greenlit before the strikes. I don't think this show would get made for this kind of budget after the strike.
Right. Well, if you guys want to read, there's Carolyn Reed wrote a breakdown in Forbes that I was just looking as you were talking
about Chris.
This. It's super complex because they had to go through all these different things with the UK and how certain money was spent and did they meet certain points in order to qualify for certain parts of the budget to be recompensated back to them. It's a very interesting breakdown, but it's super complex. And so the only reason it got revealed is because in the UK, they have to reveal stuff in the UK as opposed to the United States. They don't have the same laws about revealing where the cost production went. And one of the graphics breaks it down as, let's see, 300 and okay, so the way it's broken down, 33 million in total pay. 344 people were working on the production. The average pay to everybody was about 78 grand, all spread out overall.
That's
right?
Crazy talk. That's crazy talk. So someone wrote this in the comments just now and it said, so that's pretty much one episode of The Acolyte is pretty much what the first Deadpool cost.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts. And it's like, and I'm also making it very clear, this has nothing to do with how we both feel about how the show came out. Right. It's like, it to me, it didn't come out very good at all, but it has nothing to do with it. It has more about, it is irresponsible to spend that kind of money on, like, look, if this show, look at the example of Deadpool. Look at the example of Deadpool. They make for nothing. It makes hand over fist for its first run. Then you spend a little bit more money on number 2. Number 2 makes a lot of money, and then guess what? Then you spend a lot more money on number 3. Okay, so if Acolyte comes out in the first season, they spend $70 million on it, and it crushes in the ratings, and everyone's talking about it. It's winning Emmys, and they're like, hey, we need about 150 for season 2. And then season 2 destroys, wins more Emmys, kicks ass. Everyone says the best thing ever. Hey, guess what? This is one of the most popular shows we've ever done for Star Wars. We need 250 for for the third season. 250, that's a lot. That's 20 million more than what they spent on an unproven first season. That's crazy talk. I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
They clearly must have thought that this was going to be a massive hit, right? I mean,
They
to
had to
spend
have.
this
Had
much
to
money
have.
on it, you have to
Slam
have
dunk, slam dunk. Look,
yes,
that's what they thought. They must have thought it was a slam dunk. That's another reason. If they thought that this was going to be a slam dunk, that is why the regime must change, because they're living in a different reality.
Yeah.
Like if they walk in the next day, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
It's also the people surrounding them going, you guys knew this was going to happen. You knew it. And you didn't say anything. And you weren't able to you could, and if you did, and you did say something, no one's listening to you, then you need another job and go somewhere else.
In this economy.
Right. This is like, imagine if you're like, guys, I'm hands up. Yeah, I don't think this is going to do well. I saw the first episode, this and that. I don't think we should spend the money on this. The script's not that good because this, and this. No, we're not listening to you. And then nails everything. You're like, no one listened. Every day I walked in, I said everything that was wrong with the show, and no one listened to me. Then go somewhere else because your talents are not wanted there. I can't believe it, dude. This is when I heard that story. I was just like, I can't believe it. Like what? Like the amount of money that they spent on that show. It just adds to it. Star Wars is a nightmare. Yeah.
I always think, look, and because I've got a little bit of a conspiracy brain, I always think there are people in these studios who greenlight certain projects and money gets spent in a certain way that benefits certain people at the studio. Mm-hmm. Like that's the way I always look at these things. When you see these exorbitant budgets for these things, I always wonder who is working out some kind of back end deal to line their pockets even more with a situation like this.
Yeah,
so I don't know. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just saying.
I know it's true. And look,
always have that question.
Someone said this in the comments. Someone said in the comments, "Well, proof that Disney messed up the Star Wars." No. Did they have? Are they partially to blame? Yes, because they're the ones that are writing those checks and allowing people to run wild. But let me ask you that question then. That person that wrote that. Do you also give them the credit for Deadpool and Wolverine making all the money that they did? They're behind that. Do you also give them the credit for Avatar 2 making all the money? They were behind that. So you can't do that. You can't. This is why Disney ruined it. No, the people who are the production company, which is Lucasfilm, the executives that are making the decisions, they are to blame. Disney's to blame for writing that check and giving their notes or whatever they're doing. But the production company is the first one to blame. As I said, do they have some blame? Yes. But when people go, well, this is what happens under Disney Star Wars. Well, Disney also did Endgame. Disney also did Infinity War. Disney also did tons of movies that made a lot of people happy.
Rogue One made $1 billion.
Tons. So it's in that argument too, the executives that I'm complaining about right now also made that. But they just that was the one that was the one that I think worked and got better. But yeah, it's sloppy to say the least. To say the least. Anyway, what do you guys say, man? Put your comments in there. Tell us. You hear this, man? 180 goes to 230. That's brutal. So put your comments in there. Tell us what you think about this. Whether it is in the live chat right now, or you're throwing in a super chat, whether you're watching in the replay. Got to get the conversation about what you think, because this has nothing to do of whether or not you liked the show or didn't like the show. This has to do, because even if you liked the show, you cannot say that this was a responsible thing to do. You just can't. You can't. Like, for the people out there are people who are watching right now who are tired of hearing me complain about the show, and I don't only was complaining about this show.
You're complaining about the show. You're complaining about the budget.
The budget. I'm complaining about how this was allowed to happen. So put your thoughts in there. I want to hear it. Now, before we move on, I want to tell you guys, we have the sponsors I've told you about before that you guys love, and I'm so excited you guys have been loving them. And I'll tell you about Liquid IV, and I'll tell you about Built. Here you go. Built. I really hope that people are going to start taking advantage here of Built, because listen up, renters. If you ever feel like you're stuck in this loop of rent payments, just watching your money vanish into thin air, it is time to turn that rent game around and start earning some serious rewards, and that's where Built Rewards comes in. You've done that before. You've been there. You've been like, I'm burning cash with all the rent checks. I'm there all the time. I feel like it. It's frustrating. But here's the deal. Built Rewards has figured out a way to make rent more rewarding. You say goodbye to the money bonfire and hello to a renter's revolution with Built. Built is breaking ground as a neighborhood rewards program that hooks you up with points on your rent. Every month, you pay your rent and you watch the Built points roll in. You can use your points to book fitness studio classes, redeem them towards a future rent payment. They're designed to meet your lifestyle. Pay rent hassle-free through the Built Rewards app. Your rent game just got a major upgrade. Built points have consistently ranked the highest value point currency by the Points Guy and Bankrate. Earn points by paying rent now when you go to joinbuilt.com/bigthing. That's joinbuilt, BILT.com/bigthing. And make sure to use our URL so they know that we sent you. Joinbuilt.com/bigthing to start earning points with your rent payments today. I was having a barbecue with the family, and I was going to go and went to pick up some games for the kids to play, and I was picking up cornhole, and while I was at the sports store getting it, I kept seeing Liquid IV, and more, I'm so excited that people are learning about Liquid IV, because I've known about them now for a bit since they've been on the show. Liquid IV has refreshing summer flavors like popsicle firecracker, it's got rainbow sherbet. It hits the spot when you need transformative, hydrating relief. I really do enjoy it, and it's great to have Liquid IV. It really is, and I love this popsicle one, so I'm showing it right now. You can choose from their line of sugar-free flavors. They have raspberry melon, they have white peach, they have green grape. So what you want to do is you want to tear, pour, live more. One stick, 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. It's powered by LIV Hydroscience, which is an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. It's got 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. So indulge in hydration this summer with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV, but you got to use liquidiv.com and use the code BIGTHING at checkout. You get 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today. Use that promo code BIGTHING at liquidiv.com. Thank you to our friends over at Liquid IV and Built. Thank you so much. And for anybody who has been helping out the show and going and getting something for yourself, will you let me know, please? Whether it's a DM on Instagram, whatever it's to, if you wind up getting yourself either Built or Liquid IV today, let me know. I want to know what you guys are thinking thus far, and make sure you let them know that we sent you. Yeah, John, before I move on yesterday, I'm not going to get into the thick of this, but yesterday, I was supposed to go see a play tomorrow. Yesterday. I was supposed to see a play yesterday in the city. So it was someone that we were supposed to be interviewing, and
nice.
So yeah, it was great. But we get there, and I took my daughter, my oldest, because she's really into theater, and I wanted to take her for her first. It was an off-Broadway thing, so we were taking her off-Broadway. And so we take the train, we get there. She wanted a slice of pizza. I got a slice of pizza. We go there. It was raining, so we walked a little bit. Then we hopped in the cab. And we got there. We got there early. And I was like, okay. And they were supposed to meet us outside for the gift, because we had the tickets. And we get there, and I see this one lady, and this lady who's someone who I guess had tickets was walking. I was like, what the hell's wrong with that lady? She's like, yeah, the show was canceled. It was canceled. And I was canceled. I went, what? It's canceled? I was like, what? Just came in about an hour and a half. No email, nothing. I was like, wow, nothing. I was like, oh, this is a bummer. So but I was like, yeah, whatever. It is what it is. I'm in the city with my kids. And she was bummed though. She was bummed. So
sure.
And I instead of hopping back on the train again, I looked at her. I said, do you want to see Beetlejuice? And at first she was like, oh, she thought I'm at the play. And I was like, we just saw that, but it's not even playing in Broadway. I said, she hasn't seen Beetlejuice 2 yet. So we went and we saw, and I took her to see Beetlejuice 2 at the, she loved it. But I watching it a second time, I thought the first time I saw it was okay. It's not great, but it's a fun watch. Sure. There's a lot not great about it.
Agreed.
Yeah. But either way, you are doing well here, man. Starting off strong with 37 questions already on a Monday. 37 on a Monday. You're setting the bar for everybody as we go. Now, you know who else set the bar this week? It was the Wild Robot.
Oh.
A Wild Robot crushed.
Yeah, really well.
Crushed the bar. Have you seen this yet?
No, I'm seeing it tomorrow.
It's really good. If this movie wins Best Animated, I will not be surprised. Wow. I think this movie will probably win Best Animated Picture. DreamWorks and Universal's The Wild Robot is proving to be not just a critical smash, but it is now a commercial hit as well. The animated film has been posting stellar review scores, sitting at 98%, both in critics and audience polls on Rotten Tomatoes, and landing an A Cinema score from audience exit polls. It is, let's see, where did it go? It's faring much better than Transformers 1, which debuted to a lower than expected 25 million last weekend and has now plunged to see 63% to 9 million in third place in second. That's such a bummer because that movie is so fantastic. It's so good. Second place is Beetlejuice. That movie just keeps crushing. We said this, you and I, though, about how Beetlejuice was going to do because it wasn't going to have much competition outside of in the live action realm. Which continues its remarkable hold with a drop of just 37% in its fourth weekend for a further 16.3 million. I can also say that is true because it was fairly packed in a small theater I was in, and even the nice gentleman who brought his coughing child into the whole time. So don't keep him home and let him get rest. Bring him on in. Let him cough all over the place. Makes a lot of sense. Thanks, pal. Anyway.
God, these people. Is there no theater etiquette anymore, man?
The worst brings us, and it's not like it was one of those wet coughs too.
Oh,
it's like I had to make my daughter and I moved. Come on, man.
Yeah,
it's okay. Movie will be on digital soon. It's the worst. By Monday, that film will overtake 1989's Batman to be Burton's second highest grossing domestic film behind only the live action Alice in Wonderland. Wow. This is the story I think that we're going to really focus on here, and that's Francis Ford Coppola's $120 million self-financed Megalopolis. It's tanking.
What did it do?
The film debuted in sixth place with just 4.1 million.
Damn, that's even less.
That's bad. It's bad. Critics' reviews have been incredibly divided, but audiences are rejecting the film with a D+.
Oof.
Yeah. Jason Reitman's Saturday Night's opening in select cinemas today, the first part of a platform release, with the film garnering a 51,000 per screen average, the second highest of the year behind Kinds of Kindness. Well, glad about that. I had a whole debacle in the city last week and missed my screening for Saturday night. But I'm glad that the reviews have been good on it. I hope it's good. I'm going to definitely see that movie. I want to, very much so. I will say before we get to the story, because I don't want to forget, I took my wife and my kids to, my wife wanted to return this thing that I had gotten her at this little store, really nice store out over here. And we love this store. So we went, and it was raining, whatever, too. And as we're there, there's a guy who was kind of looking in. He was with his daughter, and he's like, "Hey, I don't want to bother you, but Kristian, right?" I said, "Yes, I'm a big fan." And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." He's a nice, super nice guy.
Yeah.
Wasn't the point of the story. The best was his teenage daughter, who was standing next to him, looking at me like this. And she looks at her, she goes, "I don't know who that is." It was the best. It was the best. And I was like, yes. And I was like, I love that kid because and my daughter goes, "Yeah, Dad, if you were my dad, I wouldn't know who you are either." That was the best. The poor guy, he wrote a comment on the thing and he's like, "Oh, I was so embarrassed." I go, "Do not be embarrassed." I was laughing my ass off with my wife about it. It was the best. The girl couldn't give a crap. All she wanted to know after he told her, like, "Yeah, it's a guy I watch on YouTube, whatever." She's like, "Has he ever met Haley Steinfeld?" It was the only thing she wanted to know. Love that. Kids,
it goes both ways, right? Because we don't know who they're watching, all they're listening to.
No, my teenage daughter brought up somebody who's super popular. I wouldn't know who the hell it was. I don't know. I've turned into my father. Anyway, so speaking of my father, he probably wouldn't even want to see Megalopolis, and that's Francis Ford Coppola. The problem is the old dogs. The audience just ain't seeing their movies anymore, man. I think the respect is there for people who study film. But we just mentioned this with my daughter doesn't know who Francis Ford Coppola is. You've got to get 15 to 23-year-olds into your movie, and they ain't coming to see this.
Yeah, it really is. It's so frustrating because it's another example of the hubris combined with a misfire, right? And look, I don't care what anyone says about Killers of the Flower Moon. I thought that film was a misfire, and people can rave about it all they want. I think the film is a bit of a misfire, and I think this is a much more grandiose misfire. But it isn't even grand. It isn't even, from what I read some of the reviews, it isn't a misfire in the way that's like, oh, people are going to come back on this film and realize 50 years later what he was really saying. The fact that it's so banging you over the head about what it's trying to get across from what I've understood from some of the reviews, it just feels to me like one of these films that's masquerading as artsy, but is really just an old man yelling at the sky through what he's making in his movie, you know. And I'll find out when I go.
Yeah,
see
I haven't seen it. I don't know. I just heard it was okay, but it's less about that to me. It's also, even if it was, I liked Killers of the Flower Moon. I did. I know you don't like it, but I like that movie. I think that was a solid film. It still didn't do very well. I'll tell you another one that and a lot of these movies, the old dogs, and not even just the directors. You look at something like, and I'll just bring it up right now, and you look at something like Wolves, right?
Yeah.
Did you watch this?
No, I haven't seen. I've had it on Apple TV Plus, and I haven't felt the motivation to watch it.
I watched it. It took me not for the quality wise of it, but it was about 3 days to watch the damn thing because we kept getting interrupted by our kids, and we finally finished it last night. The movie is decent at best. And it, like, the reason why you watch, and I love John Watts, love what he did with The Old Man. And
That's a good season.
So I'm only 1 or 2 episodes in, but I like the first season a lot, and I like the directing of it. I like the overall how it's written. This movie, the main attraction to it is Pitt and Clooney and watching their back and forth. You've seen it a million times, you know, with the Ocean's movies, but it's a little. But it's a little convoluted, and by the time it ends, you're like, wait, what happened? Who? Why? Oh, I don't know. And it's a total streaming movie. To go back to our Acolyte conversation of why it's cost it was rumored to be insane amount of money, but Clooney shot back and then said no. But it still probably cost a pretty penny to make this movie, and it shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And it's the same. It's like right now, because the old dogs, the Scorseses, the Clooneys, the Pitts, like all of them, they're just not who they used to be as far as draw.
You got to read the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Stallone was like, okay, I'm going to go do streaming on Paramount Plus with Tulsa King.
Right.
And you know what? That show is a fun show.
Right.
And it's got a second season, which, by the way, is a damn good season. Really enjoying it. So that's the thing. And I know they all want to argue about artistry and all that, but how many people would give a Megalopolis series from Francis Ford Coppola more of a watch on streaming than they would in the theater? How many people would watch a Martin Scorsese series in larger numbers than they would go see a movie in the theater? It's that kind of thing. And I can't discount the fact that theaters have been terribly taken care of over the last few years. People got used to being at home. And also, as you just mentioned earlier, the theater etiquette. It's even affecting me. I'm at a point now where I look at a theater and see how many people are in theater right before movie is starting.
It's bad.
Before I buy a ticket, because I don't want to be around a lot of people because they're so disrespectful.
And I will totally admit, because of press screenings, I have become snooty when it comes to going to the public screenings 100%. Because people act terrible. And not only was the guy with the coughing kid there was this young couple that came in for some reason. The seats that they had, they didn't like. So in a fairly empty theater, they decided to sit right behind us for some reason. I don't know why they did that. And then talking as loud as they want. That's okay. Just talk as loud as you want. Do whatever you want to do. And it's like, and then there was a group behind it, and I just knew it. I was like, I said, I've seen this already, and my 12-year-old does not care.
Right.
Does not care, so it doesn't bother me. Let her watch it. If she's enjoying it, if she's getting bothered by it, then, but she wasn't, so it didn't care. But yes, it adds to all of it. And it adds to, especially if you're doing a 3-hour movie and then you're like, oh my God, do I want to see a 3-hour movie with people who can't behave themselves and do that? That's part of it. But it's also, who the hell wants to sit? All movies are so long these days. They're sitting around like for that. And if it's not good, and it is now a gamble with an investment. If it's like, okay, if I'm going to spend whatever it is with money for popcorn or whatever the treats are, and $20, $30 for myself or whatever it is, and then I'm bringing somebody else, and if I leave and I'm disappointed, I'm like, why did I spend the money on that?
Yeah.
I'm like, what a bummer that is. So it's a reason why Deadpool and Wolverine made the money that it did. You saw 1 and 2 and you're like, all right, I've seen 1 and 2, I'll invest in 3, and why not? And I'm just going to here to laugh and whatever it is. So that movie does not do well for Francis Ford Coppola. Wild Robot, on the other hand, showing that what's so weird is that Transformers, which has a built-in IP behind it and has gotten pretty good reviews, doesn't do well at all. But here's a movie that I guess based off a pretty popular book.
Yeah.
Maybe that's kind of what it was and feeling, and maybe a little bit more accessible to all families as opposed to thinking that it's just for, people who love the Transformers because it's a movie. Like if I was going to go right now, the only movie that I think that I could take my 7-year-old now, she just turned 7 last week. If take my 7-year-old to is The Wild Robot. Do I think she liked the Transformers? Yeah. But I think the Wild, even though she doesn't want to see the Wild Robot, she's like, I saw the trailer for that. I don't care about it. She would love it. I know she would love it. And my wife, same thing, probably would love it. So why do you think this movie did so well?
Oh, I think it's because as you said, it's a new IP. I think the trailers did a really great job. Like we talked about last week with Transformers 1, the marketing, the trailers may have affected it on how people received it and how people looked at the film. But this one, from the beginning, the rollout for this has been fantastic. And the look of it, the scenes that you've seen, all of it has made it feel like this is a must-see type of movie in the theater because of the quality of the animation and then the story that it's telling, right? I think people want to go into a theater and nowadays, yes, they want to be challenged for sure, but there are those people who want to go to the theater. I think it's a lot of people who want to escape and have fun and feel good and be moved and emotionally connected to these characters, especially in an animation situation. And this feels like it works for adults and children. So it just kind of is checking all the smart boxes to make it do so well over Transformers. Because I think you're right. Transformers has built an audience, but because it has a built-in audience, it's limited with its appeal, especially in an animated form.
And if you don't get the core audience to want to see this movie because of the trailer or whatever, then you're screwed.
Yeah,
then
100%.
You're screwed. And 100%. I think that's ultimately maybe what happened. So, all right, what do you guys think about the box office? Did you see The Wild Robot? Do you want to see The Wild Robot? If so, do you think it's going to win Best Animated Picture, or at least have a shot to do it? Put your thoughts in there. I want to hear what you think. John, currently, you're standing at 45, man. You're looking good. 45. It's a good start for the week. And we are now going to move to some sad news.
Oh, no.
2 sad stories here. First, Kris Kristofferson has passed away at 88 years old. The iconic country music superstar Kris Kristofferson has died. He was 88. Kristofferson passed away at his home yesterday in Maui. That's where I want to go.
Hey, buddy, that's where to go.
That's where to go. His family said in a statement, I hope he was looking out at the ocean. That's what I was hoping. I'm hoping. We are all so blessed for our time with him. Thank you for all loving him these many years. And when you see a rainbow, know he's smiling down us all. It's very sweet. The South Texas native and Rhodes Scholar piloted helicopters in the U.S. Army, received a rugby club when he was in college. He excelled at boxing and football. Of course he did. He was a boss. And he worked as a janitor at Columbia Records in Nashville before his career took off. And then we're going to couple that story real quick. With the last Beverly Hills just came out. Beverly Hills Cop star John Ashton has also passed away. John Ashton, known as Taggart in the Beverly Hills Cops films, passed away at 76. Significantly younger. Ashton played his role of the gruff detective sergeant alongside Eddie Murphy and Judge Reinhold in the first 2 installments of the Beverly Hills Cop franchise. His career began in the 70s with Eye for an Eye, Breaking Away, Columbo, MASH, Dallas, Policewoman, and Starsky and Hutch. In the 80s, hitting his stride, he was in Some Kind of Wonderful, She's Having a Baby, and then Midnight Run. He was great in Midnight Run. He was great. He was also in Gone Baby Gone, Trapped in Paradise, Instinct. So he is survived by his wife of 24 years, Robin Hoy, and multiple children, siblings, and stepchildren. He was also in this movie, which was, God, it was a rough movie when I was, remember that movie based on a true story, I Know My First Name is Steven? Remember that?
Is that the AIDS one, or is that the...
No, this kid
gets kidnapped, right? The kid gets kidnapped?
God, it was the worst story ever. This kid was kidnapped.
Yes.
And I guess 10 years later, or maybe 12 years later, he's returned to his family. Yes. And then the real kid, after the movie came out, was like so messed up. He wound up getting hit by a car. It was brutal. But John Ashton played the father in that. And I always remember it because I was a Taggart. But man, 2 huge losses here. And the thing is, Ashton was 76. That's fairly young.
For nowadays, that's young.
Young. I mean, knock on wood, both my father-in-law and my dad are both older than that, and yeah, it's rough. And then Kris Kristofferson, you just reading off some of the things that guy did, helicopters and boxing. I was like, of course, that was the ultimate whistler. Of course, that guy should have been whistler. But yeah, it's repetitive to what we say that we always want, but it doesn't take away from it. But you always want to wish the best to their families, and you also want to honor their kind of legacy. But anything that stands out about these two gentlemen?
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. With Ashton, I mean, you grew up in the '80s. That's Taggart, as you said, and the dad of Eric Stoltz in some kind of wonderful one of those forgotten, but still damn good John Hughes movies. Yep. He's so good in that. Yep. And what you were talking about with Midnight Run, I know people talk about Grodin and De Niro in that movie. He is so essential to that movie, working as essentially the antagonist to what De Niro is doing throughout the whole movie. He is so funny, and he stays tough even when he's getting outwitted by De Niro throughout the whole movie. He never becomes like a joke, and I think it takes a certain kind of actor to be able to still portray tough even while he's getting hoodwinked by De Niro throughout the whole movie. And so I love.
I don't know what that was. For some reason, John just is quiet now.
Sure. Translate into which language?
No language, you idiot. Leave us alone.
Okay, I won't.
Shit.
I don't know why that happened.
Judge Reinhold did a great tribute to him. And of course, Kris Kristofferson. Listen, when I grew up, The Outlaw is influenced by so many things. Johnny Cash, Kris Kristofferson, The Highwaymen, Willie Nelson, Merle Haggard. Though that's the essence of that feeling of The Outlaw. The Outlaw country music, The Outlaw kind of a approach to the world. Those are those guys that kind of really, for me, influenced me as a young kid growing up in Virginia and having that kind of country music, old school country music around me all the time. And Kris was a symbol of that. What I didn't know about was the stuff with Sinead O'Connor and how he became like really good friends with her. And after that whole thing with the Pope and ripping the picture up, he was there to console her, to give her advice and all this stuff. Because he was like, I remember when we did crazy shit and we were pushing back at a system. And so this is what happens. And they were apparently lifelong friends,
That's great.
And so little things that he did that were just helpful. But I also want to say, RIP to Maggie Smith as well.
Oh, yeah.
Losing her, who was so great over the weekend.
Yeah, my daughter brought that. It's amazing. It's amazing how that can the illustrious career that she had, obviously, too. But like how my daughter was like, guys, I want to bring up some sad news, and she said McGonagall. And I was like, yeah. And then I saw your post. It was very touching, with the stuff that they did at the Universal for her and stuff. Nice. That was really nice. So it's always a bummer. Look, we're getting old, man. We're losing, we're losing people, losing legends, and it's unfortunately going to keep happening. But
did you see today?
No,
we lost Dikembe Mutombo.
Oh, I saw that too.
58 years old to brain cancer.
That's crazy stuff. I know. It's just.
We're all dying.
I know. It's so anyway, respect and love to everybody here, the people that we lost, and to their families. And there's never a good transition out of that. So we'll try to bring it into we're going to get to your questions in just a moment here, but there's another story that I thought was interesting. Did you hear about Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman with the Oscar stuff?
Oh yeah. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, let's talk about it. I'm so curious because you got you're not a Ryan Reynolds guy, I've realized. You do not like Ryan Reynolds.
I was a Ryan Reynolds guy.
Okay, well, we're gonna.
I have questions.
All right. Deadpool stars wanted to host Oscars. A new report in Touch Weekly claims that Deadpool and Wolverine stars Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds are the top choice to host the Academy Awards early next year. The outlet's Insider. Oh no, it's not Insider. The outlet's Insider says Hugh and Ryan as a team are at the top of the Oscars wish list now that they've sealed their status as the two biggest movie stars of the year. Hasn't Hugh Jackman already hosted the Oscars?
Two biggest movie stars of the year. Okay,
but didn't he host the Oscars once? He did, didn't he? Hugh Jackman.
I think it was the Tonys. I don't know if he's ever hosted the Oscars.
Who did Anne Hathaway host it with that one year?
James.
Franco.
Right.
Yeah. I thought Hugh Jackman did it one year.
That would have been a much better job with Hugh Jackman.
I swore he did it one year. Man, what the hell do I know? It was a multiverse. The outlet's Insider says that, their team, they add that they've been approached. They haven't said no yet. Jackman previously hosted the Oscars. See? In 2009. I was right. On his own. And it remains, yes. And it remains one of the most well-regarded Oscar ceremonies of the past 2 decades. He and Reynolds' romantic media tour for their film was well received, and the actress took the They would also be a ratings draw for the network, pushing this around. Okay, so we're going to disagree here. I can already tell.
Okay,
I think this is a smart move. I think it's a smart move.
Let's break it up into 2 things. One, I think it's a smart move to get people to watch the show.
Yes.
Right? But this has also been kind of a weak year for movies.
Yeah.
So, you're going to get people to watch, but are people going to keep watching because it was kind of a weak year for movies? I don't know. We're going to see. There's no Barbie here so far that's going to get people like, oh, or Oppenheimer is going to be like, whoa, what's going to happen? Because all the big films are tentpole films that are not going to be nominated for these awards. So it's a curious decision. And then the report last week that that Disney and Marvel are submitting these two for Golden Globes consideration and Hugh for Oscar consideration. And the film for Oscars consideration was a Best Picture.
That's crazy.
That is madness to me on so many
Okay,
levels.
I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that one. I mean, look, submitting it is not madness. Them thinking that they can actually win is madness.
Thinking he's nominated is fucking mad.
Okay, fair. Look, we just did a good time, and I'll throw the plug over to you. But a good time to plug the. We've been doing the movie reactions, and we just put our Deadpool one up there, and I've watched one, and our two is coming out tomorrow, and I haven't seen. Like my friend Sam has never seen it before. She hadn't seen 1. She hadn't seen 2. 1 and 2, I think. I'm going to watch, and we're going to do Deadpool Wolverine this week. I think they're significantly better than the third. I think they're significantly better. I got to watch the third one again, but I think that from what I have to, and I liked the third one. I just think that the 1 and 2 are significantly better. I'll have to go and check that out. But before we continue to talk about this real quick, I'm sure you're talking about this on Hot Mic and other things. What do you got going on the channel?
Yeah. My channel, head on over there, youtube.com/John Rocha says. We're almost at 35,000. We love to get to 50,000 in the next year or so. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, would love for you to head on over there. The Hot Mic is happening every Thursday when we put it up. We have the Geek Buddies. We're just going to drop our review of Penguin episode 2 a little bit later today. And then, of course, the Jedi Way, Spill the Tequila with Winston, my reactions. And I'll be doing more of those movie reactions coming up after the Agatha stuff and Penguin stuff kind of floats away here. But yeah, a lot happening on the channel. And I'm always open to feedback. So if you guys have great ideas for how to build the channel and grow the channel even more, I'm always open for it. And Kristian's always great to reach out and go, hey, man, I know you don't want my advice, but here's my advice. And so I always appreciate that. So head on over there, youtube.com/John Rocha says. Help out the Outlaw Nation, people, please.
Well, there you go. Make sure you do that. I think that, just jumping back to this topic, I think that them doing this together, they are I would say this year, I do think they're the biggest movie stars of the year because they're in $1 billion movie together, and that's how you equate that. You equate that by saying who had the most successful movie out there right now, and there's some animated. I guess what was the other one that made $1 billion? There was 2 that made $1 billion this year, right? It was Inside Out, and then this one, right? So I mean, Amy Poehler could host, and she's done Golden Globes and other stuff too.
Yeah, it would be great.
But the difference is that you're not going to have as much like recognizable from a lot of people when it comes up because it's an animated film. But it's just an animated film. Like little kids aren't going to recognize like if a 15-year-old or hell a 10-year-old that watched Deadpool shouldn't, but they did, looked up and goes, oh, that's Deadpool and Wolverine. But a 8-year-old or a 7-year-old who watched Inside Out 2. My 7-year-old watches Inside Out 2, and Amy Poehler shows up. She didn't know who it is. She goes, "Is that Bonnie?" I was like, "No, it's not Bonnie. That's Amy Poehler." They look alike. They similar. They could be cousins or sisters. But either way, point is, I think this is I think they have good chemistry. Jackman and Reynolds. I think it can work.
Okay, fine.
Okay, good.
It'll be all about Ryan, but okay.
Yeah,
and he's going to bring out Blake.
Do you know
Put it on the table? He'll bring out Blake.
You know what I want just for you
with all that drama
to react to it? Do you know who I want to host just for you can react to it?
Who?
Ryan Reynolds and The Rock, just so you can react to it.
Oh my!
You'd lose your mind. Did you watch the Vince McMahon thing yet?
Yeah, I finished that whole thing in 2 days.
How did you not do? You've been doing movie reactions. How do you not do a Vince McMahon reaction to that?
Oh, I did a review.
How do you not do a reaction?
Okay. How do you do a reaction? Like just talk about it? I guess I could have just
like you just done the clip outs the same way you do a movie thing.
Yeah, I guess
I was gonna do it. I had no time. I was gonna do that.
One for every episode? Oh, I should.
How many episodes were there total?
6.
Yeah, you definitely should have done it.
If I no, it's a matter of not having an editor who's doing it 24/7. If I had an editor solely dedicated to my channel,
then you'd be able to do it. Yeah,
I think I probably would have done that. I do reactions. I would change the channel to
just reaction.
To Rocha's reactions. It would just be that because I love watching stuff and reacting.
You know what's the other thing? Speaking of watching the Vince McMahon,
if there's an editor out there who wants to work, we can figure it out.
What do you think about the Vince McMahon doc so far? Do you like it?
I thought the doc overall.
Oh, you watched the whole thing? Okay.
I did. I thought it was a well-constructed documentary, but if you know all the stories, it's going to feel a little boring at times because you know all the stories, but there's still some little things that are interesting and new. That being said, the doc is very much a must-watch to see the many ways that Vince is an utter nutball.
Okay.
And Vince has multiple personalities, multiple things that he's done as a bit of a sociopath in order to succeed in the business. And there's a story about how he basically asked Shane to stab him with a knife.
I saw Paul Heyman said that, right? I saw that.
Yeah, Paul Heyman tells the story. He told Shane, if you want to put this storyline together over my objection, you're going to have to kill me, legitimately kill me, and take over the business.
Yeah, he's a lunatic.
That's Max.
He's a lunatic. The other thing that I did watch, as I'm not done with it yet, but I'm about 20 minutes left of it, is the Oscar De La Hoya doc that's on HBO.
Oh,
did you see
doc.
Did you watch it?
I watched that the opening weekend it came out.
When did it come out?
It came out like months ago.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
I don't know. See, this is it just popped up in my algorithm on HBO, and I watched it, and it's really good. It's really good. It shows you. I mean, I will say this though. I was always a De La Hoya fan watching. I was always a fan, but watching that doc and watching the stuff like when the back and forth of him and Dana White, I don't know why I think I side with Dana for some reason. I don't trust De La Hoya. I don't trust him.
You trust Dana?
No, but I'm just asking out of the two. I'm just
I think they're both messed up. I think they're both messed up. I think they both lied. If you ever watch Canelo Alvarez talk about De La Hoya, he rips him to pieces.
That's what I'm saying. Well, they almost got into it at the press conference. Anyway.
Yeah.
So there's so much that we talked about, discussed, and I love getting all of your thoughts, and we've been doing it. So thank you for. I don't know if you know this, guys, but we're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We do they have comments now on Spotify, which is wonderful. Thank you to everybody. And we also have tons of questions here today. John, you started off big. You started off big today, and we're at 51 already. So
only 51.
No,
let's
stop
get to
it.
7. Let's get to 80. Come on, people.
Well, if you want to, I mean, look, the ultimate record is, I think, 106 is what Winston had. It was 106. But this week you're starting, you already got the precedent with 51, and that's really great. That is great. Okay. And we're going to start off with our buddy, Mike Joyce, of course.
Hey.
He says, so Francis Ford Coppola spent roughly 40 years of his life and $100 million of his own money on Megalopolis. Look, what I'm going to tell you that I think that I give the man props for, in the same way that you look at what Costner did, is if it's, and look, and even on a smaller scale of what Jennifer Esposito did for her movie on Fresh Kills, right? Yeah. If you believe in a project so much and you have the will and you have the means and you have a way to get it done and you get it done, you have nothing but my respect. Now, it doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to like your movie. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to tell people you should go see your movie. But it means I'm going to respect you for putting it out there. Even as someone like Francis Ford Coppola, who wanted to get it done, if he spent $100 million of his own money, then more power to him. Now, it's not on me to say, why'd you do that? It's just, it didn't work, but he took a shot. So, yeah, I think that's a tough one.
Mike, Joyce, Mike, it's easy to sit on the sidelines, baby. It's different to play a hand. And Coppola is playing a hand. Now, we may not like the end result. We may think it's ridiculous, but you cannot go after him for spending 40 years and $100 million for making this movie, because he is driven by a passion.
Well,
once you find a passion, Mike Joyce, you too.
Well, he followed it up.
And time.
He followed it up kind of with that point, John. He said, I don't know whether to hate him for his ego, thinking it was a story that needed to be told, or to be concerned for his mental health.
Don't hate him for his ego or be concerned with his mental health. He's an artist, and he pursued what he wanted to pursue. That's what artists do. So, you take the good with the bad always with every artist.
Yes. Chris Granier. Wow. What a rough weekend for Hollywood. Maggie Smith, Kristofferson, John Ashton, Drake, Hoggeston. Yeah, this is it was I felt like it was coming like fast and furious with the news about the people who were leaving us. That was tough. Hank Pym. I watched The Wild Robot last Thursday. It was one of the best movies of the past 5 years. Friday, I watched Megalopolis, and that's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Wow. That's brutal. I didn't hear that. I haven't heard that I just heard that it was kind of meh.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it when you see it.
Tomorrow.
I actually chose, what's funny about that? I had a screening for both Megalopolis and Wild Robot on the same day. I chose Wild Robot. Isn't it crazy?
I chose neither. I chose to watch my Commanders beat the Bengals on Monday Night Football.
Nice. Good for you.
Yeah. 3-1, top of the division. Suck it.
Oh, sniff a fart, will you? And then, Wild Robot is a great movie. It's really good. It's really good. I think people are going to dig it. Chris Granier. I saw the Makugo video on grief that you did with him. Honestly, after losing my late wife, I didn't have words to explain the feelings, and you both nailed all of it. I also had and still do have the dreams. Well, Chris, first of all, I'm very sorry for your loss. That's very hard to deal with, and I couldn't even imagine, and I'm so sorry. And I'm glad that video was able to do that for you, because I didn't know. Look, Makuga's having a rough time, obviously, right now. He's having a really rough time.
What's going on? I don't know.
Makuga's brother passed away.
Oh no!
He passed away about a month ago.
Oh, that's such a shame.
And
we don't talk anymore, so I don't know this.
He had a long battle with cancer, and Ben was a very good person. And Makuga's having a rough time. So he reached out to me and asked me if I would, talk about grief and stuff with him on his things. It's the way he's kind of coping, and we did, and we had a really good conversation, and I hope that it helped him. And what I said is, as you know, John, you've been through loss, and it's a matter of it never gets better, but it never goes away. That's kind of what I said.
You want to reach losing my dad is the biggest loss of my life, and it took 3 years to put it in its proper place. And the thing I always say is that you've got to work to get to that place where you appreciate the time you had, and not focus on the time you lost, because the time you had is the gift of life. And no matter how little or how much you had, the fact that you had that time, that's really important. And those memories and those things that you experience together, they take on an even greater significance in your life because of the loss. And that's important. And you never stop missing them, and you never stop being affected by it. But, but you come to a better place about it, and you feel the change in yourself with their loss.
Yes. And thank you, Chris, for sharing with that, and then following it up with, he says, with Helene just devastating the Southeast, does this set back any production filming down there, and by how much? I know it's really bad in North Carolina and Tennessee. I don't know the answer. I would assume so. Yeah. I would assume that, anytime that's, I remember when the New Orleans thing happened, was it 2005?
Yeah, 2005. Yeah.
I remember all the stuff that was planned there, and they have to, reschedule things and do things, and so I would assume, but I'm not sure. Have you heard anything?
No, I haven't seen anything. But of course, they always shoot in the South, and especially in places like Atlanta, Georgia, North Carolina. Those are big places where they shoot. I mean, one of my really, really good friends is from Asheville, and so seeing the devastation in Asheville, North Carolina, which by the way is a really good arts community, to see the effect of that is just heartbreaking and devastating.
It's so tough. I was. Look, my family's in Florida, so I was doing a lot of checkup on them. My dad was out without power. I think he's still without power. Hank Pym, do you think the kid's going to turn on the Penguin? So I haven't seen episode 2 yet. Have you seen 2 yet?
Yeah, we did our review earlier this morning.
Okay. And did you like 2? Don't spoil anything.
It's not as strong as 1, but it's still a damn good episode.
Okay. I'm excited to watch 2. Like I said, I ran out of time this whole week to do. I mean, I had so much crap going on, and then Friday I left to work early because it was Macy's birthday. So I just kind of was trying to get to Penguin over the weekend. I just couldn't get to it. So I might still even try to do a reaction to it. I don't know, but I might even just react to 2 and 3 together. I don't know yet. Gotcha. But I don't know whether or not he's going to turn on. I don't want to spoil it yet. So just with a yes or no, John, do you think he's going to turn on?
Yes.
Okay. Chris Grainer, breaking sports news. Dikembe Mutombo, basketball Hall of Famer and NBA global investor, dies at 58. Very, very sad. He was so. I mean, how do you not smile every time you saw that guy? He was like, and he's just so powerful too. He was the man. He was the man.
His commercials were funny.
It's hilarious. Oh, I love those commercials. Hilarious. That's also terrible. Johnny Venerable, that Jaleel White skeleton photo. I don't know, man. Yeah, I saw that. Not the best. But I think Kalinowski sent me that with a "Did I do that?" following. But I don't. But what I don't want to do is just. It's not fair to typecast somebody right away. It's just not fair because what if in the same way that look at Josh Hartnett, who was just cast on his good looks during the day, and now he's like pulling out great performances and pulled off. I didn't love Trap, but I loved him in it. Loved him in Oppenheimer. So I think there are people who can totally change your perception. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's still I just feel my fingers are crossed, but I don't know. I'm going in hopeful.
It's clearly a kid show. So it is done for that. And look, Jaleel White does not talk like that in real life, for God's sakes. He's not going to walk around Star Wars set going, "Oh, did I shoot you?" And it's not going to be none of that, for fuck's sake. It's just going to be him in his regular voice, which is a deep baritone voice, doing what he's doing in the character. I think it's fun. The same people complaining about this are the same people who welcomed Hayden Christensen back with open arms after his acting, and he was typecast with terrible performances.
I think he meant the picture also because the picture. Did you see the picture?
I saw the picture. We talked about it on the Jedi Way last week. I thought it was fine. I don't know what the issue is. This is not serious Star Wars. This is going to be fun, pew pew Star Wars.
I know they need serious Star Wars. So that's the problem.
Mentality.
I think you just nailed it though. I think the problem is that they need serious Star Wars right now.
They do,
I
but
think that's the
this is not what Skeleton Crew is. So
it's
don't
not.
Expect
yeah, it's just bad strategy. But hopefully the show's good. Hopefully the show's good. But I think the strategy behind it is pretty bad. Kris, again, thank you, Kris. And Kris says, major leak. All of season 2 of The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon was released briefly instead of first episode, and all of season 2 plot is online. Oh, that's. Are you still watching The Walking Dead stuff?
I stopped a while ago.
It's amazing how it's still moving.
Clearly, multiple spinoffs. I mean, Michonne and Rick have their own situation. Now you got Daryl, the Book of Daryl, whatever that means, with Carol. And so, yeah, it's fascinating. I applaud people who are still in this universe and enjoying it, because clearly there's enough of y'all to keep this going.
Interesting, though, that everything leaked. How does that happen? You know what I mean? Like, how does that happen? Like, if it's not intentional, like, it's like, how do you look? I mean, this is someone that's stoned out of their face going, hitting the button and going, whoops.
This is what happens when you don't pay, high-end people to be in charge of this stuff. The mistakes that happen because you're trying to find the cheapest work or cheapest employee for this job, and things like this are going to happen. Unfortunately.
All right, the great Tim Sim.
Hey,
there he is. I was hoping to tell you guys what I thought about the McMahon documentary today, but I'm not done yet. Not a binge person. But so far, it's been well made, and yes, includes several things that you two already knew. That's a lot of stuff. Do you feel that, John? Is there a lot of stuff that we kind of knew already, or did you learn a lot of new things?
I think there's a lot of stuff that we knew already. There's moments of stuff that we like. There's scenes with Bret Hart's wife confronting Triple H, which I had not seen.
Well, that's from that documentary, isn't it?
Huh?
Isn't that from that documentary?
Yeah, but there's even more footage from that documentary.
More from it.
Use.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought was really cool to see. And the stuff with Owen Hart, that's really devastating. And the Benoit stuff, and Stone Cold does not come off well in the documentary.
Really?
Because he claims that CTE doesn't exist.
Oh, well, wow.
And that is a stupid thing to say. And it really frustrates. I'm going to turn on all my heroes, man. By the end of my life, I'm just going to turn on them all. Because clearly they're getting older and they're becoming stupid. And I'll say that to Stone Cold's face. Like, you're no doctor. Who are you to say that CTE doesn't exist? You can say that you never had it, which he claims he never did. But you can't claim that because you never had it, nobody's ever had it. Like, you're not the singular body.
Is that what he said? Is that what he said? Nobody ever had it?
Yeah. That's what he refuses to accept it as a thing.
All right. Julius Wyatt, as a UGA fan, Saturday was heartbreaking. John, how about your Commanders? They're so fun to watch. Top 5 Tom Cruise performances, films. Love you two together. Thank you, Julius. Top 5 Cruise performances. Tough to say. I mean, that's hard. I think that he was so good in Top Gun Maverick. I think he was great in that.
Yeah,
I think he's good in Vanilla Sky. I think he's good in The Last Samurai. I think he's good in in Magnolia.
Yes.
Trying to think of some other ones that pop up. I mean, then Mission Impossible, depending on which one he's doing. So, but those are the ones, and those are the ones that pop up right away. But I'm sure there's some other. Oh, and shoot, and what's a classic one? Rain Man.
Yeah, Rain Man. Oh, he's excellent, Rain Man. Yeah,
so in that too. So that's. I mean, I don't necessarily know if it's a top 5, but I can just tell you those are ones that stand out to me.
Yeah, Magnolia, Born on the 4th of July.
That's a good one too. Yeah.
And Top Gun Maverick. Those are the 3 right now in my head.
Yeah.
That are the top 3 performances from Cruise. But of course, I think even something like Oblivion, which isn't that strong of a movie, he delivers a fantastic performance in that film.
Yeah, he's always good. I mean, he's always good.
Yeah.
Derek Johnson, the great Derek Johnson. Derek the Great, I should say.
Up there.
I'm going to say something a little controversial. Don't anybody snap my head off, just throwing it out there. Brock only got the win over The Undertaker because he and Vince shared some sexual tendencies. I don't believe for a second that Brock was icon level enough to even sniff taking that record.
You're an insane person, Derek, and I love you to pieces, but you're completely wrong. At that point, Brock was a stratospheric superstar.
Yeah.
He was out in the stratosphere.
He didn't need that win, though, by the way.
He didn't need it, no. And what you find out in the doc is they came up with it that day.
Stupid.
Like it was like almost right before it started. And Undertaker says that. He's like, I had no idea I was going to lose till I got to the arena.
Should have put somebody over that really needed it. That would have just put somebody completely over. We would turn somebody into a megastar. You had somebody that was like a so-so who just got the chance. You're like, there's no way this guy's going to beat The Undertaker. And then he does. But Brock doing it, who cares? The only thing that came out of that one was that the fan's face in the front row.
Yeah, the dude reacted to it.
But yeah, so I don't know about the fact of him, the reason why he got it, because he had something over him. Nah, because I just don't think that Brock and The Undertaker were pretty good friends. That I don't think that Brock would be like, hey, if you don't give that win to me, I'm gonna let you know that this is coming out. Just doesn't seem like that would have went down. Plus, I don't think that I just don't see that coming.
Vince messes with a lot of stuff. Vince won't mess with the business. Whatever you want to say about him, he's certainly a depraved individual. Would he do something to sacrifice the future success of the business just for a petty sexual situation with Brock Lesnar? I would say 100% no.
Yeah.
Probably not. The accusations are there of what he supposedly did with that young woman, with him and Brock.
Did they mention any of that in the doc?
Yeah, the last 30 minutes of the doc get into that, but
they probably added it.
Vince refused to do any interviews after the accusations.
Right.
And only Pritchard comes back to essentially be ridiculed for defending Vince, because those allegations come out like days after Pritchard does a reshoot of his stuff after seeing the episodes.
Got it. Veto power. Oh man, the Penguin is even better than anticipated. What an episode! Melody going toe to toe with Farrell should probably win the Emmy. She was so great in episode 1, so I can only imagine how good she was in 2. She's fantastic. She's Colin Farrell is unbelievable in the show, but the fact that she's able to get the conversation around herself is a thing of beauty, because everyone's talking about him. Everyone should be talking about him, but the fact every comment I see now is Farrell's great and Melodi's awesome as well, and it was like it's a 1-2 thing. And I'm sure, and knowing the kind of guy Colin Farrell is, he probably applauds that. He loves that because but she's great, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love her. I mean, I've been a fan of her since she did that stint on 30 Rock as that baby voiced girl, but you find out the reason why she's doing it. And then Made for Love, which was a great HBO Max series that hardly anybody watched, with Billy Magnuson and her.
All right.
And then the most recent, the Resort one that was on Peacock, she was great on that as well. So having her kind of move away from these kind of dark comedies to go into something really dramatic.
Yeah, Palm Springs too.
Fantastic. Oh, Palm Springs, another dark comedy as well. She's fantastic in this film.
She's really, really good. Show. Yeah, she's really, really good. It does feel like a film, though. Derek Johnson, I wanted to be hyped for The Acolyte, and they told us it was a story about the dark side, and they just gave me poor storytelling, plot holes, and wasted Manny Lee Jeong-jae, and biggest cardinal sin of them all, effing up Carrie Ann. Now that I'm not going to disagree with anything you just said.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that was we've covered that in kind of depth, but I think that that's exactly right. So Derek, thank you. And Derek's adding, Johnny, you're at 63 at the moment too. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be good precedents to set for the rest of the week. Derek Johnson, did either of you see what David Cornsweet said about Dean Cain? Man, that took some swinging balls to ask for that smoke. I'm a fan now, even without the Superman movie. What did he say? Do you know?
That. I was too busy caught up in Zachary Levi going off the deep end this weekend. I did not see the David Cornsweet stuff.
I did not see either. Majero puts in a, let me know what he said about,
I'll take a look.
99 cents. Thank you, Majero. Derek Johnson also says, throwing some support. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Derek.
And we are moving down the line here as we see back to Kris, who says, I'm answering Rocha from last week. Motel Geek is dead. What does that mean? What's that mean?
Well, back when I used to host for you, in the morning, I would always make fun of Hotel Nerd that he had this hidden cousin, Motel Geek, who would come in, and so sadly, Motel Geek apparently has gone the way of the dodo. So sorry, Hotel Nerd.
Oh man. Carlton Runner, there he is. Always a good. Carlton Runner has actually joined the Patreon, so I get to see him on. He joins in on the Q&As that we do, so I've actually got to see him face to face now. So it's like, what a nice guy. He says, London Calling, Kristian, I'm loving Dark Matter on Apple TV. Wolves was also good, fun, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Very Newman and Redford vibes, which I don't disagree with. Opening estimates for Joker 2. I mean, we talked about that. You know, it's like it said. What was? I think 120.
Yeah,
I think 120 is probably where it lands. What do you think?
Yeah, probably 121, somewhere between 120 and 150. I think that's fair. I'm going to see. There's a fan screenings tonight at certain theaters, so I'm going to try to get a couple of tickets because that's one of those rare comic movies that the Lady Outlaw's into. So we're going to go see it tonight. Hopefully, if we can find a couple of good seats. So I'll let you know what I think. But I hope it gets a good response. But I think the musical thing is really starting to rear its head.
Yeah.
In terms of the response from people, tickets wise. Yeah.
Yes, boy. If y'all were wrestlers, what would your theme song be? You probably have your. I'd have my own made up one.
Yeah. Kristian didn't like any of the ones I proposed to him. We couldn't, so we went.
Which was we had the ones that David B started doing for you were pretty great. I let you use you were the one person that had a couple good ones that started out. I mean, what did you use? I can't remember. You used a few.
Nas one for the live show. That's still my favorite one.
Yeah, used a few.
You Can Hate Me Now is one of my favorites.
What's so funny is that we had, in the way that YouTube used to work, is that I don't know how it happened, but we got away with so many songs that we were able to use and still monetize the videos. You couldn't do that today. I don't know how it worked at all back then, but it worked. Maybe because we were talking over them a lot of times. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I don't know my theme song. I'd want something that Jim Johnson did. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And now that the guys who were doing the music for the last few years for WWE are leaving, apparently the contract's not getting renewed. A lot of people have been calling for Jim Johnson to come back and put some new themes
I
together.
hope that they do, because I saw that, and I think that what they said they're going to do with Netflix, and they're going to just like be able to license music for people now, the way that boxers do. And I hope that they don't do that. I hope they get Jim Johnson to do it. It puts so much more flair into it.
Yeah.
Majero, any opinions on the Star Wars YouTuber Civil War? No, I have no opinions on it. Because it's my whole thing is where I was like, I do this thing on I'm the UFO videos that I do, and the community over there, they go after each other and everything too, and I'm just like, I don't have time for it. I don't have time for it. I don't know. There are so many times that I wish that I could take a machete to both your and Mike Kalinowski's hand when it comes to Twitter. It's like, I don't know why you do it. I don't know what.
There's so many times I want to take your hand and go, will you say something in support of certain issues, for fuck's sake?
For what? Who? I'm screaming at the people that are going to agree with me, who it's aimed at, and the people who already are. You're never going to tweet something out, and the people that you want to debate with are never going to go, oh yeah, you're right, and tweet it back. You might have that in a conversation with somebody eye to eye, face to face. You might be able to address your points. This is what I love about the Monday show, right? Because people have said the reason why they like me and you, because we don't always agree on everything, but we've been friends for 25 years. So we can both have a civil conversation, and I can guarantee you, that if we didn't know each other, you would tweet at me furiously and be like, and I'd be like, who's this asshole, right?
Why aren't you speaking up? but that's East Coast. But that's East Coast. You and I are East Coast.
Yeah.
That's why we love to go back and forth these kind of things, and then go get a beer.
That's right.
Kind of how it works.
That's right. Mad Sinister McCall, Beth Snyder, or what did he say? Beth what? Beth Snyder, right? Megalopolis straight to DVD bargain bin next week. Long leg sequel called Short Legs, starring DeVito. Kit Fisto finds love coming to Disney Plus. It's the best. That was good. He's good. You hit 70 already, John. You hit 70.
Nice.
Well done. Those 70s always tough for people to do. So you see Roxy and Brecken do. They're on my birthday show tomorrow. Tomorrow's my birthday. They're on my birthday show, so they might have a shot. Griffith, if you had to pick a movie to show aliens the best of what humanity has to offer, what movie would you choose? Forrest Gump?
No, because he's kind of dumb.
But he's dumb, but he also shows what the heart is all about. He shows what the heart's all about.
What's a film where people go, remember the Titans? People coming together, overcoming their issues to work together.
Yeah. I don't know. I show them Independence Day and say, please take us out of here. Pete Parker, 2288. Wolves was a pleasant surprise. Hey, maybe I'm in the minority, John. Maybe you should watch it.
Maybe you took 3 days to watch it.
Maybe you should watch it. I just didn't. Look, I like watching them together. But so far, Carlton and Pete, they dig it. I'd watch a sequel. Will either you do a reaction? No, not going to do a reaction to it. I just kind of gave my thoughts here today. But I think that's probably it. And John, I don't know if John's going to do a reaction to it. Did you ask him?
To which one? To Wolves?
Wolves.
Yeah, I'll probably. I've been, as I said the last few weeks, I've been thinking about starting a show called Reviews and Rumors, where I can put all my reviews on there, because Rotten Tomatoes told me that I can no longer use my tweet reviews or my Instagram reviews as official reviews for their thing. So I have to put it on video on the Outlaw Nation. But some of those movies are small and they're not going to do well. So why not do a whole show and then see what happens from there? At least I can cite that show on Rotten Tomatoes. So we'll see.
Well, yes, boy. Which comic story would you like to see live action? They've already done it, but I'd like to. I really want to see them do Spawn again. I want to see Spawn.
Yeah. Kingdom Come is always my choice, and I know the animated one is coming.
I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to take elements of it and lead up to it, right?
I hope so. That would be awesome.
I am Jax12. Given how disjointed the Acolyte story felt the entire season, is there any chance the show was reshot in its entirety and then Frankenstein together into this monstrosity? Is there any chance? Of course. There's a chance. And John, you happen to think that that's what happened, right?
I do, 100%. I think Filoni went in there, made some changes. They reshot some stuff because there's so much incongruent stuff happening throughout that show that is frustrating. There's so many teases and potential and it's almost like when you watch Solo, you can see what some of the intentions of Lord Miller were, and then what Ron Howard came over and tried to mask over in the reshoots. And that's so frustrating. It's like watching the Joss Whedon Justice League. You can see the Snyder bones in that film, but he fleshes it out in his version, whereas Whedon tries to do some kind of Frankenstein thing there. So yeah, you can always see it when you're watching movies or shows that have that issue. And I think the same thing happened here.
Yep. Mad Sinister McCall. I had a WTF dream after watching Schmodown. Rocha chased a Dollar General shoplifter out of the store. Both of them were attacked by a tiger. Both of them made it out of it. Congratulations, Rocha. I'm proud of you. You did it. You fought a tiger, and you beat it. You did it, and you're almost there. You're 4 away from 80. You son of a bitch.
Hey.
Howdy. Saw John and Matt in London. This is from Luke TG1 TTV. Kristian, when is the UK tour with the whole crew? Keep up the great work. Great to see your channel growing. Thank you, and I'm trying. And I think that the answer to that question is the same that has always been, and that's I've got to be able to actually make it work for budget wise. I got to get a sponsor for it. It's like I got to be able to fly people out to it, and it's also I got to see exactly what you guys would want in a live show. Like, so I don't know yet. I've kind of put the live show idea on hold for a little bit, but that's not this. I'm a stand-up comedian at my heart, man. I want to I always want to be on stage with people and do some stuff too. So it's there. The idea is there. I would love to do a show with John again live. I think that would be great, even if it was
that'd be so much fun.
Even if it was just like, if you and I decided to do it in the same way that me and Dan did a show.
Yeah.
Like just me and you doing a show and doing kind of like this. We could definitely do that. I think that would be fun. And then maybe even because I do this 5 days a week, maybe there's one show with you. Maybe there's one show with Roxy. Maybe there's one show with Mike. So it could be fun. It doesn't necessarily have to be everybody. It could just be people from different parts. If
I'll throw something out to you. If you know that show we do, I know it's edited. That show we do at the end of the year, but me, you, and Dan doing a live show where we're talking about our favorite movies of the year. That could be a lot of fun at like Flappers or someplace bigger with 200, 300 people that could see it. I think we'd sell it out.
It's not a bad idea at all. Not a bad idea. It's just a matter of because it's September, so I'd have to start moving the ball on it.
Oh, right.
ASAP. You need at least 2 months to be able to do it. But it's actually I wish you would have brought that up to me earlier.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Okay, so let's see. So Joe, it's your fault. It's like my wife.
True.
Shay Markel. Awesome shirt, Rocha. I was a 13 Bravo in the Army for 6 years. I painted the Autobot and Decepticon logos on the CVC helmets inside of our howitzer. That's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Dude, respect.
That's pretty cool.
Respect.
That's pretty cool.
I wish I thought that far ahead when I was serving. So respect.
It's pretty great. Yes Boy follows up and says, Kristian, after watching that Matt Serra podcast, Ray Longo really does look like an extra from The Sopranos. Could have been cast in The Penguin. I loved Ray Longo. So I got a chance to meet Ray Longo before I even knew Matt Serra.
Okay.
I met him at like I think it was Vegas before one of the fights, and I approached him and he was awesome, great guy. We talked boxing, talked about other stuff, and then now I've become pretty good friends with Matt, and so Ray Longo was his second guest. Ray Longo is the fucking man, dude. He's the man. He's just such a. You can see they're Rocky and Mickey. They really are Rocky and Mickey. It was this, and now he just had, and he's got 4 champions now. He just had another champion.
Right.
And so he's straight out of, and the way he talks about like the neighborhood. It's a great. If you guys haven't seen that episode with Sarah and Ray Longo on the greatest gangster movies, you should watch it. It's on Matt's channel. It's so good. Approaching 5,000 subscribers on that channel now.
Nice.
Yeah. So Derek Johnson, I 100% think Lucasfilm is to blame because Disney took over Predator and Aliens franchises. They can put out dark stories. This team hasn't been able to consecutive playoffs or won a championship in too long. Off movies don't count. Yeah, we're singing the same tune, my friend. Derek is 100% right. It's like you can, like I said, they have partial blame because they're the ones that are greenlighting it. They're the ones giving notes. They're the ones putting money behind it. They're partially to blame. But when the people always go, "Oh, this is what happens with Disney Star Wars," they didn't say that. They don't, because when Endgame breaks all the records and Avatar breaks all the records, and they go, "Yeah, Disney." They go, "Yeah, Cameron." They go, "Yeah, Russos," and "Yeah, Marvel." They don't ever say "Yeah." No, they'll never get it. That's just it's the thankless job of what they do. So I don't know. Let's see. Tim Sim, do we smell a lawsuit coming with this amount of money spent on censored on Rocha, so on Acolyte? Is that what it is?
I don't know
what it is. Censored on Rocha won't yell at me again. I already know, given to dismal viewership or not. Do we smell a lawsuit coming with this amount of money spent on? Why would we see it? Why would we see a lawsuit though? I don't know. I guess I don't understand the question totally, but like, no, there's no. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. So let's see. Sherlock 277. Kristian, on last week's show with Roxy, you talked about how the internet tends to call out movies from the 80s and 90s as problematic. Why do you think that has become a trend? Because of the generation. Mm-hmm. It's the generation. It's like I saw there was what's it now? It's Generation Z. Is that?
Yeah, Z is the new one. Yeah.
Or no, it's one Generation Z. I don't know which one. Whatever. Generation Z is very vocal about everything. And there was a whole article some Generation Z person wrote about American Pie. And how American Pie was problematic, and then pretty woman.
Current generation is Generation Alpha, which is born between 2010 to 2020.
Yeah, but it's Z, the one is complaining about everything.
Yeah.
And I think Pretty Woman is problematic, and all these movies are problematic. It's like, you go through times are different times, and like, could you get certain movies made today that you get? No, but it's like it's different to do it. But I hate going retroactively and saying like, oh, you can't watch this. This is a problem. This is like I hate it. And maybe it's because that's the Generation X. I don't know, but I hate it.
No, you're right. 2 things can be true. One, they can be problematic to the people who are watching them now.
Yeah.
But to those of us who love it, we can watch the movie and still accept the problematic aspects and still enjoy it and love it. So you can hate it. We'll let you hate it. Let us still enjoy it.
Right.
That's just how it works.
Yeah, but I still hate the articles. Exalted 10 started the Mr. McMahon doc last night. As a lifelong wrestling fan, I've only seen him in character on TV and read stories about him online. This is from Exalted 10, by the way. And I was very surprised to see him be very articulate and well-spoken. Oh, yeah. I mean, look, he was a very smart dude. He was just a creep on the loose.
You don't seduce all those dudes. And I don't mean in a sexual way. I mean, like, all those people to give up their contracts in separate territories to come be a part of your fledgling venture that you don't know if it's going to work unless you've got some kind of charm or charisma and intelligence that these guys and ladies eventually gravitate to. So yeah.
Yeah, this is my favorite. Somebody who clearly has not been watching the show in like months said, train off Broadway, Harloff's on the East Coast now. Someone who has been watching the show in probably 4 or 5 months. But welcome back. Roman Fedorak. Hey guys, first off, John, thank you for being a part of this awesome podcast that I look forward to every day. Roman is like the nicest human being in the world. Second, Kristian, I saw Transformers 1 last night, thought it was awesome. Love the world building. I think that was it. The world building was so good. So good. Derek,
I had a great time with the movie. I just didn't buy the Megatron turn as strongly as I was hoping. But other than that, I thought the film was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I liked that. I
thought Hemsworth was good too.
I liked the turn. Derek throws in a little bit more support. Thank you. I thought it was great. I'm telling you, it was one of my favorite Transformers movies. I just loved it. So, Derek Johnson, I watched the Transformers movie, and all I could think is, why the hell couldn't they do this in live action? I've been dying for a story like this with no humans. What's so funny about that is that Lorenzo Di Bonaventura, although he'll probably change his tune now that it didn't do very well, he was saying that the next live action movie, they were going to tune back on the humans, which I've been calling for since 2007, for them to tune back on the stupid humans. And they're not going to. They're probably now think this is a problem.
You know what my 2 cents are? Get rid of Lorenzo Di Bonaventura. That's the guy. You want Transformers to go next level, go become successful, go get reborn again. You get rid of Lorenzo Di Bonaventura and get another producer who is younger, who is hungrier, who's more understanding what the tastes are of kids nowadays and not lost in the old man stuff that Lorenzo is. And go, and that's how you get it across. Find another young up and coming filmmaker who's got some films underneath his belt or her belt to come in and do some great new things with that property and that franchise. You know, Lorenzo's old
I don't
school.
disagree with you, but the only thing is I have a soft spot in my heart for Lorenzo because I met him a few times and he's a very nice guy. And I was actually, so before I got my job working for Joel Silver, I interviewed at Di Bonaventura. And I made it to a couple different rounds. In the final round, I was sitting in the room and he walked in. And he walks in, he looks over, and instead of going into his office, he makes a right turn and he goes, "Hey, I'm Lorenzo." And I said, and it was like, I was super young at the time, but he went out of his way to come over. And Joel, on the other hand, would just shoot past, even working there for 2.5 years. Just like, you know, "What'd you think of the movie? Who are you? You don't get tickets to the party." Yeah.
Look at my gut. Yeah.
Joel was a character, man. But anyway, here we go. Tim Sim. For those who know my take on the Star Wars shows, even I'm scratching my head on how much money was wasted on it, especially others I know who enjoyed it are dismayed at hearing this news. I think that's the thing, is that we made it very clear, and that's why I wanted to address what Mike Joyce had said in the beginning of the show, was that this wasn't about crapping on the Acolyte. This is about saying, how does this happen? How does this get approved? More so nothing about the show itself, but how does it get approved? Even people who liked the show, like if you find like it's staunch supporters, and you're gonna have a conversation with any people who love this show. My first question would be to them: okay, I'm glad you love the show, and I'm glad that you dig it, and you want to keep watching it, and you want a second season. But how do you justify the $230 million? That's the answer I'd like to see them say. I don't know what it would be, because you look at Tim. Tim liked it. He can't justify it.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's too much.
Derek says, "John, I also follow you on Twitter. Should I DM you about the Comic-Con tickets? Also, I wouldn't feel right without giving you some kind of payment."
Oh.
Remember you told them
don't worry about it, Derek. But DM me. We'll figure it out. It's a while away. Remember, it's all the last Comic-Con just ended like 2 months ago. We got a while to go, brother. Yeah.
Mad Sinister McCall. Allegedly, Disney money from investor Walter White. Great. Okay, what happened? This is a great question. Hank Pym.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on Dane DeHaan? I thought he would be a megastar after Chronicle, but over time he sort of faded away. I'm glad he popped up in Oppenheimer. It's a great I thought Dane DeHaan was going to be huge.
He barely popped up in Oppenheimer.
He barely. That just shows you the team aspect, right? Like, because he was in Spider-Man with the Andrew Garfield movies, and he didn't, and that never panned out the way that thought it was going to be. Yeah, Dane DeHaan is a great actor, but he just hasn't crossed over to that side.
I thought he was good in Dumb Money, one of the most recent.
Wasn't. What was he? But what was? Okay, so I loved that movie.
Yeah.
What was he in that? I don't remember.
He's one of the guys who was in investing in the money. like one of the dudes who was there.
I'm sure he was.
Yeah,
I'm sure he was. But I hate that I don't remember that he was in it. But I kind of do.
Well, I think it's a matter of, look, he had that. The Chronicle thing was great. They made him Harry Osborn in the Spider-Man thing, and he just didn't get over.
Nope.
And so now he's gone to these other places, and he's done much more TV, like The Stranger and The Staircase.
He's really good.
Yeah.
I hope he has a resurgence.
Yeah, maybe as he gets older, there'll be parts that open up for him. Yeah.
Speaking of Mike Joyce, half my theater walked out of Megalopolis. Last time a movie I saw that had many walkouts was Bruno. What was the last movie you went to that had many walkouts? Well, I don't remember. Yeah.
The theater had 6 people in it. So
right.
To be fair.
I don't know. I can't remember a lot of. The only ones that I always remember walking out was when Ellis and I Ellis and I had an agreement that we could, during the Schmoes era, that we would walk. We were both given one movie per year that we were allowed to walk out of.
Wow.
Yeah, and Sex and the City 2, we both used it at the same time. It's brutal, that movie. So brutal.
I think Battle Los Angeles was the last time.
Oh, really?
Out of a movie.
I didn't mind that movie. I didn't mind that one. So yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember the last one that had that many walkouts. John, you hit 90 already, man. You're approaching Winston. You're approaching Winston records right now. You're approaching Winston. Wow,
that's very kind.
This is now could be historic. If we get 15 more, you're going to tie Winston. Hank Pym, do you guys have any actors like that for you? Which ones? What was the question? Oh man, thoughts on Dane DeHaan? I guess I thought, who I thought was going to pop, and didn't pop afterwards. I'm sure we really kind of dove into it. I'd be able to figure out. I know
in Eric Bana, Josh Lucas. There's so many. Sam Worthington.
Speaking of Eric Bana, I'm going to steal my brother's, but I never thought. My brother thought that she was going to pop, and I said no, I don't think so. Diane Kruger.
Oh yeah,
he thought after Troy she was going to be like the next huge star, and I said I don't think so. Yeah. And then the Cali Kid. Thoughts on The Substance? It's in my top 5 of 2024.
That's what
I still haven't seen it. I hear nothing. There's been no one that has said anything but great things about that movie. So no, I haven't seen it yet, but not sure. Derek Johnson.
Determination to catch up on stuff this week. So watching all this stuff. Go ahead.
Are we excited about the John Wick spinoff Ballerina? I got to say, Atomic Blonde with Charlize felt so much more impactful. I am in the minority where I didn't love that movie, the Atomic Blonde. Yeah. I like the staircase scene. I thought the staircase scene was awesome. I didn't love that movie. I was disappointed by that movie. Thought she was great in it. Didn't love it. I have to tell you that I thought that the Ballerina trailer was a lot better than I was expecting it to be.
Yep, I agree with that.
I thought it was pretty great. I like Ana de Armas, and I will tell you, besides just being an absolute gorgeous woman, she pulled off, because there was another action movie she was in where I didn't buy it. I buy it in this. I totally buy it. This is
It's like what you saw in the James Bond movie. For the 10 minutes she was in it, they extended it out into a whole movie here in this trailer. And I thought the trailer, I agree with you. I expect this trailer to be terrible. And this trailer was actually a lot of fun.
It was really good.
Because from what I heard from a couple of sources, it's not testing well. So maybe they
reshot it.
So maybe they made some changes. Yeah. And now this is what we're getting.
They definitely tied it and felt like inside the world, obviously, by bringing in Ian McShane or obviously Keanu Reeves. Josfos. Love the show, guys. My favorite interviewee was Rocha and Don Johnson. Classic. It's the best. It's the best. Watching that.
I wish I could interview him. He's back on a renaissance with Rebel Ridge and that new show on ABC. I would love to interview him
and bring that clip up again.
Yeah, and bring the clip up again and get it, because he rolled with it so well.
It was hilarious. So we were talking about John basically told him that he was talking about his daughter and what she was wearing.
I totally forgot that it was his daughter.
Absolutely hilarious.
And I was just mentioning how she became famous because she walked in those Stanford panties, and he was like, hey. So I thought that was a really great
absolutely
reaction. By the way, that interview was only supposed to be 30 minutes, and he stayed on for an hour.
That's great. So Luke TG1, was that live in person or was it on the phone?
No, it was on the phone, but it was, when I was at Collider. So it was,
John, you got a shot to break Winston's record here, man. You're at 99.
What?
You're at 99. Wow. I check if a cinema is full before I book the ticket. If it becomes busy near the time, I'll cancel the booking. I can't trust anyone or to be polite. I couldn't agree with you more. It's 100%. so bad. I was groaning to myself every time a new person walked into the theater yesterday. I couldn't stand it. Derek putting in a little bit more. Thank you so much. Derek, to once again, R.I.P. to Dikembe Mutombo. Yeah, it's really, really sad. I mean, super, super young. That's horrible.
58.
Yeah. Ian Davis. Of these actors, who do you think will go down as the best of all time? DiCaprio, Christian Bale, Brad Pitt, Downey Jr., Tom Cruise. I think Tom Cruise will go down as the biggest movie star out of all of them.
Yeah.
Best actor, Bale.
Yeah. I say DiCaprio.
Is the best actor?
Of those 5, I would say he'll go down as the best actor.
I think the argument would be worth having.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It would be a fun argument to have.
I feel Bale's a little bit more of a chameleon than DiCaprio is, but I could see it. Yeah.
But I think Bale is very much like, look at me, look what I've done. Whereas DiCaprio is much more.
John, you'll love this. There's an Oscar host suggestion I think you're going to enjoy.
Oh, no.
Zach Levi as Oscar's host.
Yeah,
P.
sure.
Parker 2288. Followed it by Derek Johnson. Rocha is so right. Vince is a sociopath. He may not have abused his kids like he states how he was abused, but he damn sure took it out on the wrestlers in more ways than one. Also, Hulk Hogan is a shitbird. F him.
He finally admits in the documentary that he screwed Jesse over on the union.
Hogan does?
Yep.
Oh,
he
nice.
has never admitted that until the
He
documentary.
finally admitted it?
Yeah, totally did. Yeah, I go with Vince. I ride or die. And he admits that he screwed the government over in the steroids trial.
Yeah.
And essentially said, I did that for Vince because I ride and die with Vince. It's like, oh, man.
Derek's putting a little more support there. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Derek.
I Heart People. Have you guys seen the film Happiness with Philip Seymour Hoffman? If not, go in blind and have a therapist on speed dial. I haven't. Have you?
Yeah, I saw that back when I was into my indie stuff.
Brutal?
That is rough film. Yeah.
Can't do
Because
it.
I think he's a pedophile who calls and has a conversation on the phone. He's like, oh my God, what is happening here?
Yeah, I can't do it.
Weird little film.
Can't do it. Wayne Edwards. Good morning, gents. I saw Megalopolis on Friday night. I have to say I was disappointed by it, but there are nuggets of interesting ideas. I feel like there is a longer cut of this film somewhere.
Longer?
Yeah.
God, I hope not.
I don't know. We'll say I got to see the movie. Derek Johnson, between this doc and all the Dark Side of the Ring documentaries, my childhood romance and nostalgia for that old school wrestling is so worn down. Jesse Ventura is still cool, man. Had on a neon pink in the 80s. I love Jesse. Did you see the interview that Van Vliet did with Jesse?
I haven't seen all of it, but I did see the clips
Karrion
where they
Kross
brought in Karrion Kross to imitate him, and Jesse rolled with it so well.
So well. And he also, but then he brought in, but then he had Will Sasso call him right afterwards.
Oh,
too.
did he? I didn't see that part.
Keep watching. It's pretty good. Speaking of Karrion Kross, he's a big Matt Serra guy. We're trying to get him on the show.
You should.
Yeah, I want
get Scarlett on the show for God's sake.
Who?
Scarlett, his wife, who's also his valet and wrestler.
Jamez B. Yo, what up, fellas? Peace from Detroit. I've been watching you both since Collider Days. First super chat goes to you, Kristian. Happy. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much, and really appreciate that. That's very, very nice of you. And thank you for watching, and thank you for contributing. John Ashford. Good day, gents. I'm thinking Victor on Penguin might become Victor Sazaz. Thoughts?
Victor? No. Hell no. He's not going to become a villain. He's going to become a hero. Trust me on this. The way they're setting it up, the way they're setting up this codependent toxic relationship, he is going to break away from Penguin and I think become one of the heroes in the DC universe. I just don't know which one.
It's Halloween time. This is from Wayne Edwards. It's Halloween time, and I'm not a horror fan. And I can't do major gore or zombies. However, I like certain types, like It Follows and Talk to Me. Do you have any suggestions along those lines? I mean, Conjuring, obviously. I bring the Conjuring up on those, and I like that's more my speed. I like the more kind of psychological thrillers. And I don't think that there's a lot of gore in Long Legs, which I just watched, is more very 70s.
Yeah.
So
Session 9 is another one that if you haven't seen Session 9, talk about having a therapist on speed dial afterwards. It's an incredible film. A horror film. Yeah.
Derek says, that's my point. It was so last minute. If he was a megastar like that, it would have been planned. Vince is a psycho. Where when he's ever doing that with no planning, he definitely planned out a lot of stuff. That's exactly why I think that there's more stuff that's going to come out about that character. A Silva 88. It's not Barbenheimer, but of the big movies, Dune 2, that has the best chance to win the Oscar. Do you agree? And will that help viewership? Any other ones? I hope Dune 2 has it's the biggest thing besides it being a science fiction film. Also came out in March. That's a problem. So I hope I would. It's still my favorite movie of the year. There's nothing that's going to touch that movie. It's my favorite movie of the year, and I don't think that it's going to win, but I do think it's going to be nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about Honora and The Brutalist and Conclave. So we're just about to enter into the Oscar season as we go into the fall, and October is tomorrow, I think, starts. So like there's going to be films that are going to come out that will eclipse Dune 2. I don't think Dune 2 will win Best Picture, even though I think it should damn well be nominated. I think there are other films that the critics are going to want to see win Best Picture. But if any big feature film with an IP and a franchise behind it has a shot, Dune 2 certainly does, especially in a year like this.
Yeah. Kris, Rainier, that P. Diddy list is going to create huge shockwaves in Hollywood and politics, nationally and globally, if true, up to 102 names. Yeah, it's gonna be wild.
Bro, they're gonna kill him. And there's no way.
You think so?
Those names are gonna, oh yeah. Kim Kardashian is already sending cease and desist letters to YouTubers and social media people who are putting up videos of her at Diddy's parties.
Wow.
LeBron, they're finding old stuff with LeBron being connected to this. There's no way this many high profile people are going to allow their brands to be stained if they were or were not part of this. So I think they're going to
find a fail-safe on how to do it. I don't know.
His attorney came out and said there's an even more high-profile person than Diddy on the video.
I heard that. Derek Johnson, did I miss something, or did Harold eating crayons say something crazy again? Yeah, you check it out and Google him out. Derek also says he's trying to help out John with some support.
Oh, thank you,
to break the record. And John, I will tell you, you've already broken the record.
Hey,
112 today. Now you can send that to Winston after he was gloating to you. I think that was last time that you were on. John has broken the record today with 112. So we still have a little bit to go before we're out of here. So top 3 Swedes. This is from Alexandra Blum. Top 3 Swedes in movie history: Ingmar Bergman, Leslie Helmstrom, Ingrid Bergman, Grega Garbo, Rebecca Ferguson, Naomi Rapace, Alicia Vikander, Max von Sydow, Stormore, the Skarsgårds, Joel Kinnaman. Those are some good ones, and that's a very kind super chat. So thank you very much. Those are really good ones. I don't know the top 3. I'll tell you, I'm becoming more and more of a Rebecca Ferguson fan every time. I mean, we just mentioned Dune. I love her, absolutely love her in Dune. But would you put anybody who? And the Skarsgårds are great. Would you put? I would put their dad.
Yeah, Stellan is absolutely in the top 3.
King.
I think you'd have to.
Stellan's the king.
You know?
Yeah,
but you left off Dolph Lundgren. How dare you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
How dare you leave off Dolph Lundgren?
The Cinema Corner, Rings of Power season 2 has been fantastic. I hope it is. I just couldn't get into it. I didn't try. I didn't try to get into season 2 because I didn't like 1. But did you go back or no?
Not yet. I will at some point. I will. Trust me.
A Industrial. Question for Rocha, or should I say Rocha? Why not truly embrace your true last Hispanic name?
What do you mean?
I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. The Sundown Club. Who would you cast as Kurgan in the new Highlander movie with Henry Cavill? Oh, man. I don't remember it well enough to say. That was the Clancy Brown role, right?
Is that the Clancy Brown character?
I think so. It's the Clancy Brown one. So I'm not sure who I... You know who is Tom Holland? Tom Hardy's a good one. But you know who I like? Speaking of Deadpool, is what's his face? Ed Skrein. I think he was the best part of the Rebel Moon too. I think he was pretty good in that. Yeah.
He's also good in Alita: Battle Angel.
Yes, he was. He was. Actor. Yeah, he was. Korean Emperor.
Deadpool, the first Deadpool, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The first. Korean Emperor. Y'all and everyone convinced me Disney is right. Star Wars is now for kids. Sans Andor, I've aged out of it. Hopefully, the next generation that falls in love with this version creates amazing stories in the future. What an adult comment that was.
Yes, it was.
You wish more people would be like that. Chris Grainier, 970 watching live and only 260 likes. Do better. Agreed.
Wow.
Yeah, and some more support from Derek. We are now. I mean, Winston's going to be pissed because Rocha's now blowing him out of the water. And then Juan Visuals, thoughts on
He's used to it.
News.
Remember the live show? He's used to it.
That's true. The Nosferatu. He brought that up last time. Nosferatu trailer. Is that I didn't see the new one.
We were doing the show.
Oh, so did it? Okay, so we'll have to watch it. And then Grim R just says, I love the show. Thank you so much. I'm really glad the support. And I'm going to give credit to Rocha, which I don't do often. I'll give him some credit.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
No, I don't. So the reason I'm giving him some credit is because I was not really looking to do live shows ever again. John called me up and was like, "Hey, I want to do a show together, man. Let's do something together." And I was like, "I don't really know what I have. You can't come here in San Diego, this and that." He's like, "Well, why don't we do this live?" I go, "I don't really want to do live." I said, "Why don't we do one live show, and I'll just maybe me and you do live on Mondays." And John was very generous with his time and was able to do it, and we started doing it. And I think it's because of that live show, it showed me that, oh, hey, live shows can work again, and now we're live every day. So I'll give credit to John on that one.
Somebody mark this down.
Yeah, cut it out. I wasn't recording. Derek Johnson, F it. I can't let a fellow military vet not be the top of the scoreboard. So he's now Derek's trying to push you over I think Derek was going to push you over, but there's so many other people helping out too today. Unheard Sirens Incorporated. Speaking of Dane DeHaan, I want to see him play Bowie in a proper biopic. Thoughts? He'd be great as Bowie. He'd be great as Bowie. So that'd be a really, really good one.
I like the Johnny Flynn one, but I think Dane DeHaan would be an interesting David Bowie for sure.
Yeah,
I like it.
Pete Parker 2280. What's the issue with the American Pie? The camera scene. Yeah, people have issues with the fact that Sharon. What's her name? God, I don't remember. Oh my God,
Allison Hannigan or who?
No, Sharon. What's her? Oh my God, the hot exchange student.
Oh, the Alexander.
Shannon.
Shannon.
What's her name? Oh my God, I can't remember her name. But I can't remember her name. But
Shannon Alexander, isn't that what it is?
Is it? No, I don't think that's
right. Wrong on that.
No, I think you're wrong. Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. But
Shannon Elizabeth.
Shannon Elizabeth, close. Shannon Elizabeth was that scene was the one people were complaining about. So, and then Derek, I hope Derek doesn't mind when I'm just highlighting his support comments. Yeah, Chris Daniel, what's a must watch during the Halloween season? I mean, I think the first Halloween, right?
I think now Werewolf by Night on the MC on Disney Plus.
That's a good one too. Yeah. And Nightmare Before Christmas. Aaron the Creative, do we get a Miles Morales movie after Secret Wars? I think they're going to lead up to that. Yeah.
Totally.
I do think they're going to lead up to that for sure.
Tom Holland is going to be done being Spider-Man very, very soon.
Yep. The Dart 005, waiting for Harloff to hit 160K subs. Subscribe. You and me both. Yeah. And then Matt.
Can we get me to 50K? Come on, everybody.
For real.
Come on.
For real. Matt McCluskey. Just putting in 999. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt.
So many people here supporting the show and supporting us in general. I really, really appreciate it. Can Jaden Daniels keep it up? Kayla Williams, who? We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Jaden, though, has been playing incredibly. And the way that he has already kind of like grasped the concepts of the game at a pro level. I know people don't want to say this name, but it reminds me a lot of Caitlin after the Olympic break, how she absolutely was a different player in the WNBA, grasping the speed and the pace of the game. Jaden already 4 games in looks so in command of this offense. But again, it's only 4 games in, and we'll see what happens. But it's nice to see it because 30 years, we've had crap quarterbacks except for RG3. And so it's nice to see him stepping in. We will see.
Okay, let's see. So we got a couple more here, too. The next one is Chris Granier. My old ass moment was great, but needed more Brett. Oh, did you see that moment? What happened on the with that movie with Aubrey Plaza? Did you see?
Gunther?
Did you see what Roxy said?
Roxy Stryer about that?
Yeah. So
No.
the movie My Oldest with that one with
Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey
Yes,
Plaza. So Roxy on a clip out said she goes, I want to talk about the main guy in My Old Ass, and I started laughing because she's like, I heard it. It was really good. It was really good. All right, Villeneuve. Who says? Oh yeah. Didn't he actually put in a super chat? No, Ewok. Yeah, Ewok. Villeneuve says he's done with Dune after Messiah, but is open to another filmmaker continuing the films. Which director do you think should take over? Nobody. I don't want to see anybody else take over.
Yeah, I don't know if
I don't want to see anybody else take over. I really don't. I mean, maybe
who's making movies at this scale, Christian.
I mean, Alfonso Cuarón, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Sure.
Maybe, but I don't want to see anybody touch it. I don't want to see anybody touch Dune. I like leave it alone after the third one. Leave it alone. Yeah. Okay. So you already did it, Derek. Derek said, "What do I have to do to beat this record?" You did it. The record's at 124. It's the most.
Wow.
It's the most we've ever gotten.
Wow.
It's the most we've ever gotten. So and you annihilated Winston by like almost 20. Yeah, I never thought I didn't ever think Winston's record was going to be beaten. I was wrong. And with my birthday tomorrow, who knows? Maybe you 124 will have to be broken. And then Derek Johnson, I'm glad to be done sending these. Well, thank you, Derek. And then Philly G. This isn't a spoiler, but there's a scene from episode 2 of The Penguin where Oz has an interaction with a car, and I've never felt more seen than when he has to deal with a dumb driver. Is there something pretty great, John? Okay, I'm looking forward to it. I Heart Epitiva. More support from the artist formerly known as Elusive Rock. Well, thank you.
Hey,
he's great. Thank you so much.
Very,
very kind. Pete Parker 2288. Happy early birthday. Please let Big Balls out tomorrow. I probably have to.
Are you going to be on the show tomorrow?
Yeah.
Even though it's your birthday?
Yeah, dude, I got to work, and you know how it goes.
Respect it. No, I know. I do know. Yes.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Okay.
All right.
What you think about it, Rocha? Yeah, John Woka. That's right. Come on, man. You want some of this shit? Me and you, baby. You know you like it.
You climb back into Zachary Levi's ass and get out of here. Yeah.
Dare you?
Yeah, you heard me.
You're going to chuck me? You're going to chuck me?
Hard into the
I'll
boards.
put a purple crayon up your asshole. Come on, baby. Shazam this, punk ass bitch.
Damn, he's coming after you.
Wow.
Yeah, he's coming after you. I like when you guys go after each other. Thanks, Nick Vaughn, putting something in there. Saul.
Hey.
Why did Simmons manipulate the footage? Edit from the Over the Edge night Owen died. It was one of the most manipulative things I've ever seen in a doc. What did he do?
Well, he claims that they claim in the doc that there was blood in the ring and the blood was Owens. But it actually, a number of wrestlers came out afterwards, like Hardy's, I think, came out and said, no, that wasn't Owens, it was our blood, because we had they had a wrestling match. And so they kind of tried to make that point. And look, I get it. It's a bit of a flubbing, but the point overall was the fact that Vince still went forward with a pay-per-view after one of his wrestlers died at the beginning of a pay-per-view. And I remember watching it live in Tallahassee at the bar there, watching it live when it happened.
Really?
And I remember feeling sick to my stomach watching that pay-per-view.
And they kept it going, right?
Yeah, they kept going. So, yeah.
Oof, that's tough. Nick Vaughn, big fan of both of you guys. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
And Derek says, you don't have to highlight. I'm just supporting you guys. Thank you, man. The Cali Kid. I'll defend Megalopolis. I loved it. It's fantastic. I mean, look, you know he's going to find somebody who loves it. I hope that I'm with him. I hope that I'm like, what are they talking about?
I want to enjoy it. Yeah. Grace Randolph liked it. I don't know if that means I'll like it, but at least somebody did.
Benny, who's your favorite male actor of all time? All time? Oh, man, that's so hard. All time. I mean, I put Harrison Ford in there. I put Gary Oldman in there. Man, those are the two that come to mind right away. Those two. So I'd say if those are the two that come to mind, then I'm going to put them in there. Arnold.
I mean, I can't remove De Niro or Pacino or Brando from the conversation.
Yeah. Those are good conversations. Dennis Hoffman. Hey, Rocha. I love your channel. I subbed for the hot mic, and now I'm watching all of your shows.
Thank you, dude.
I loved your Rick Romanois interview. Many more interviews, please.
I'm trying. You know, I want to if I get more subscribers, that helps me to get interviews with these publicists because they'll see that I have a big platform. So I'm at 35, which is decent for starting out, but I'd love to get to 50 or 100 because that's going to get publicists to pay more attention because I love those interviews. And Rick was great. I hope to interview him again. And if you guys haven't seen Kandahar, that's another film like The Covenant, which Kristian finally saw. It's a damn good military movie, and Gerard Butler is great in that movie.
I like that movie. Covenant? Gerard Butler's not in The Covenant?
No, I'm talking about Kandahar.
Oh, okay.
That's a film you need to see.
Aaron the Creative, is there still a chance Cavill could be Doom? No, they put too much hoopla on RDJ right now. They're not going to do that. Derek Johnson, free birthday. Can we just send you one big amount? I mean, hey, it's up to you guys. No one's asking you to do anything like that. But I think there's a way to do it on the freaking super chat where you just say, hey, and then that's it. But I really appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Benny, what do you guys think of a film being made about the Assyrian genocide with a great director on board? Are you guys familiar with that history? I'm not. Do you? Do you know it?
About what?
The Assyrian genocide?
I don't know it, so I couldn't possibly speculate on it.
I don't know it. No, same. I'm not exactly sure. And then I think this is our last one, John.
Okay.
Fasil Hadai, who says, I know you guys have been watching movies for your entire lives. My question is, have you ever had a movie fatigue in general? Movie fatigue? I mean, I can tell you that I've been like, if there's things I need to watch, if there's movies I want to watch, I'm like, I don't want, like, I think I just went through it last week. I was like, I've watched a lot of great movies and there's a lot of TV shows. I don't want to watch scripted right now. I just want to watch a documentary or something. And I'm watching like the De La Hoya thing. And there's sometimes I'm like, I know I could watch this. I still haven't caught up with The Boys. I still haven't seen The Boys yet. And I was like, I could go back and watch that. But I'm like, no, what's now? So there are times when I'm like, oh, I don't want to invest 2 hours right now, or I just want to watch a TV show. I just want to watch this. But I don't think I've ever kind of fallen out of love for watching movies, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. But I think everybody's different, right? It's like there's the gym nuts who are at the gym all the time, 24/7, just working out all the time. And there are certain people like that in our business who just legitimately want to watch it all, everything, and be on top of it all. But like for me, just like with the gym, and unfortunately that's kind of how I look sometimes, I go when I'm excited to go, when I feel like going. And same thing with movies. Like I love movies to pieces. Catching up on all the movies at once, I feel like I'm being forced to do it as opposed to wanting to be drawn to do it. And I do my best work when I'm drawn to do it. And so I go through these moments or these periods of not necessarily fatigue, but more like I'm going to get around to it when I'm ready to get around to it. And so I think I'm kind of in that place lately, the last few months. So, you know.
Well, I lied. Philly G says, in the movies Happiness, it was Dylan Baker who played the pederast, while Hoffman played a different kind of creep. Oh, okay.
Okay, my bad.
Okay,
my bad.
well, there you go.
I knew there was a pederast in the film.
Well, thank you, Philly G, for letting us know. And thank you for everybody. For letting everybody know. John Rocha does what the Outlaw does, and John Rocha is the new champ. So not only for this week, I don't think anybody... Oh, no. Now it's 129. Aaron the Creative. Over or under the Ray movie gets canceled. Over or under what? But I think, do I think it gets canceled? Yes. I don't think it ever. I think that they keep Daisy Ridley, and I think Daisy Ridley winds up being in a different movie, whether it's not. If this version of the Ray movie changes, it does not come out in 2026. Yeah. It changes, and it does not have the director attached. It completely changes.
I think that's correct. I think that's how you have to parse it out. Will there be a Ray movie down the road? Yes. Will it be directed by Charmin Obey-Chenoy? Will it be written by Travis? No. So that's the way I look at it. I think this particular, like you said, Kristian, this particular Ray movie now more and more I feel like is not going to happen. But there will be a Ray movie down the road at some point.
Yeah, I think. I mean, they have her for a contract, so I think they're gonna. Yeah. I think they might as well use her. And she's she's beloved. She's beloved.
I love her.
Yes. Derek Johnson just wanted to push you over, so now you're officially at 130. So there you go. John Rocha. Oh my God, 131. It's not stopping. I appreciate it, guys. Daniel Breen. Rocha, have you seen Transformers 1 yet? I caught it in Vancouver. I liked it, but then a certain moment made me sit up to pay attention. We need a sequel. Definitely need a sequel. I hope it catches life on digital, but Rocha, you got a chance to see it, right?
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. Like I said earlier, I enjoyed it. Really liked it. Didn't buy the Megatron transformation fully, but I've heard from a couple of people that if you go back and rewatch it more than once, you can see the build to it a little more clearly. So we will see if I go back and watch it again, but I did enjoy it. I liked the animation. I thought the performances overall were great. I actually liked Keegan-Michael Key as Bumblebee, which is an issue my friend Shannon had. I actually liked him. And so overall, and I thought that final post-credit sequence, I thought that was great. So I was like, yeah, let's go. Yeah. Let's make this happen.
I'm excited to see where they go with that. But I'm excited that you guys joined us here today. I'm excited John joined us here today. John, got a lot going on your channel, man. What do you got?
Head on over there, youtube.com/John Rocha Says. The Outlaw Nation. Just type in the Outlaw Nation and John Rocha. Head on over there, subscribe. All kinds of great content going on there. There may be more live shows coming as well on my channel, which I love doing. So please head on over there. We're going to do our Penguin review for the Geek Buddies. We got the Hot Mic coming up on Thursday, the Jedi Way, Spill the Tequila. So much happening on the channel, plus my reactions and reviews. Head over there and have some fun, please. Thank you, Kristian.
The new champ, John Rocha. There he is. So thanks for being part of it. Thanks for playing this game with us. It's a lot of fun, and I love hearing from you guys with the conversation and putting in those questions every day. Give us a cool topic. I like essentially there's really two shows in one. We do all of our topics up top. We have all our questions from you guys. You guys bring in new topics maybe we didn't think of. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Love you guys get involved. Tomorrow is my birthday show. I will be here as my actual birthday. I'll be doing it with both Brett Sheridan will be on the show and Roxy Stryer will be on the show. They are back together again, and the three of us will be on the show together. So please join us on the show. Come by and say hello. And we'll be starting a little early tomorrow. Tomorrow will be 12:30 EST. Roxy will be joining us about a half an hour late, but Brett and I will start around 12:30. So we hope that you guys will join us. We have the Deadpool 2 reaction with Sam dropping tomorrow. We got Deadpool and Wolverine on Friday. Got the Agatha thing with coming up with Sadie. And so there's a lot going on here on the channel. So thanks for joining us. Subscribe to it. Appreciate you. And we'll see you on the flip side. Bye.